All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insane Layer 13, and we are about to get underway here for round 5 of our 9-race PPRL NASCAR Championship. I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insane Layer 13, and before we get underway, let's real quickly go ahead and look at the point standings as they are right now. I'll start with the easier things first and then get to the harder stuff from there. In the Manufacturers Championship, it is Ford leading with 726 points right now. Second place is Toyota with 640 points, and third place is Chevrolet with 634 points. In the Teams Championship, 10th place is DBM, they only have 3 points. 9th is the JFR team, they have 23 points. 8th is Excite Motorsports with 30 points. 7th is ABR with 53. 6th is Juiced Elephant Racing with 82 points. 5th is Fast Dudes Racing with 111 points. 4th is Tusaki Motorsports with 133 points. 3rd is BWTR with 191 points. 2nd is the team XIV with 294 points. And leading is Apex Velocity Motorsports with 295. So a very tight fight at the top of the Teams Championship. Then we get to our Drivers Championship. This will be a little bit longer to go through, so please do stay with me here. I'm not looking at this on my phone. This text is way too small. I'm going to pull up my computer and just read it off of that. I am not going to try and blow my eyeballs out trying to read that off my phone. I do apologize. All right. In the Drivers' Championship, it works out as follows. AEXIV is 26th with 3 points. 25th is Dubs 1775. He has 16 points. 24th is Lion Mane 85 with 18 points. That puts him in a tie with Ride Racer 24. In 22nd position is XR Frosted with 20 points. 21st is FC Barcelona 19. They have 23 points. 20th is XMS Dragon 1. He has 30 points right now. 19th is Gen 3. LS79, he has 45 points. 18th in the championship is Visible Rocket 98 with 54 points. 17th is Zodiac with 64 points. 16th is JDM Culture with 67 points. 15th is Taylor Weiler with 78 points. 14th is Quiniba with 81 points. 13th is last race's winner, Link the Racer. He is at 82 points right now. A great comeback after missing the season opener back at Daytona. 12th is Waterfire. He is staying also at 82 points on the season right now. 11th is Duke 7390. He has 92 points. 10th is Royally Stoned. He is the lowest of all drivers who have started all the races thus far this season. He is at 104 points. 9th is Hockey 2487, and 8th is Boss Racer Pro 199. Both of them are tied with 109 points exactly. There's another tie for 6th between Savage Speeder 88 and PRG Black 30. They both are sitting with 111 points apiece. 5th is Lear Art with 117 points. Then we get to our championship contenders. 4th is Ghost Reaper 617. He has 129 points. 3rd is SRD Shredder. Shredder has not finished outside the top 2 in any of the prior 4 races. He sits 3rd with 145 points. 2nd is Tazebot 44. He has 146 points. And Dawson 14 is your points leader at the moment. He is staying with 146 points as well. So 2 points separate the top 3 drivers in the championship. And then your 4th place man, Ghost Reaper, is only about 17 more points out of it. So if Ghost Reaper puts together some good runs and even just a little bit of bad luck befalls the likes of Dawson, Taze, and Shredder, things will get really wild when it comes to the championship. We'll talk a little bit more about the championship. Later on in this event as it develops. But until then, we're going to try and knock out a Twitch-mandated ad break as everyone is getting off of the tires they start on, and they'll get lined up on the back straightaway. We'll be back momentarily here at Homestead Miami Speedway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Homestead Miami. Real quickly, a look at the grid. It's going to be TazeBot 44 and Ghost Reaper on the front row with Ghost being your pole sitter. It will be PRG Black 30 and Waterfire on row 2, Savage Speeder and SRD Shredder on row 3. Savage and Shredder spent a lot of the time 2 weeks ago at Brands Hatch fighting, but now they're back on ovals. Things might be different for them. Row 4 will be Zodiac 9257 and Boss Racer Pro. Row 5 will be Royally Stoned and Hockey 2487. Then you get back here to row 6. That will be Benzweem, who is a newcomer. This will be his first start, and Gen 3 LS79. After that will be JDM Culture and Link the Racer. After that will be Visible Rocket and Dawson, although I do think there is a possibility that we may see Dawson moving up just a little bit higher up the grid here. After that will be Adam 24, who is another newcomer, Lear Art and Dub 1775. Quick note about Adam, this is his first race, but he is not the first driver in his family to be running this series. His son, Savage Speeder, has been a mainstay of this championship. The field is already doubled up, and we will come to the green flag. This time by, it will be 233 laps here at Homestead Miami Speedway. We are almost guaranteed to see this race also go into the night, which is something we have seen at every single race thus far this season. As I roll out of the final corner, everyone is doubled up. It will be a 19-car field, and we take the green flag here at a 1.5-mile oval. TazeBot holding the inside. Ghost Reaper chose to start on the outside, but it looks like the inside line may be all it takes for Taze. He's going to go to the front. Taze did not have the run he wanted back at the Brands Hatch event, although he still did maintain his streak of finishing in the top 5. It just wasn't quite the result he wanted. Now he is out in front early on. This could be a great chance for him to rebound. Waterfire runs in 3rd position. He got himself into a lot of controversy last week after multiple accidents, including at one point dumping the 2nd place driver on track while he was running multiple laps down. Initially, he was going to be suspended. However, that suspension was since revoked. He is on what is supposed to be a one-strike system. If there is one more thing he's involved in, he is supposed to be removed from the series permanently. But for the moment, he has been given a waiver to race today, and he is currently running in 3rd. They are 3 wide behind between Black, Savage Speeder, and SRD Shredder. It is Savage on the outside, Shredder on the inside, as Black is backed out of it just a little bit. But already we are seeing TazeBot and Ghost Reaper scooting away from the field. They are using the normal draft shenanigans that we see in this group on the stock NASCAR tunes. You will typically see the top 2 or 3 drivers all working together in a tandem to pull away from the rest of the group. Normally, that's how races end up playing out here, and I imagine we will likely see TazeBot and Ghost Reaper be hooked up nose to tail like this for most of this race. They will likely try to set as many drivers a lap down as possible. We already have people coming into pit lane right now. Lear Art and Adam are 2 of them. There is a lot of damage here on Lear Art's machine. I look at Adam, who is also coming into the pit lane. He has significant damage on the nose of the car, but as we are in the first 10 laps of the race, we stay green. There are not allowed to be any yellow flags in the first 10 laps of a race under normal circumstances. So, at the head of the field is Ghost Reaper and TazeBot. Now we have Savage Speeder and SRD Shredder. They've worked themselves up into 3rd and 4th. 5th place is JDM Culture. He's got Dawson, 14, just a bit behind him. There's another car into the wall farther back. That was Gen 3, who has lost a huge amount of speed against the outside wall. There's no damage, but he got caught in the wall, and that's going to slow you down a significant amount here. So Savage Speeder runs 8/10 behind Ghost Reaper and Taze. This is, oh, and that's another driver who's just had another instant there. That is one of our newcomers. That is Benzene, who has had a instant on the back straightaway. Now, the engine is still functioning, but there's a lot of aerodynamic and spring damage. So already, we're not even 10 laps into the event. We have 1 driver multiple laps down, and we're about to have 3 drivers on top of that, 1 lap down between themselves. So this could end up being one of those races where just the back of the field ends up getting trapped multiple laps down very early on. There is not a lot of spread in the midfield, though, but at the very back of the grid, everyone's kind of falling apart, and at the front of the grid, we see 2 drivers running off into the distance, but this is a little pack of about 5 cars here in the midfield. Waterfire, Boss Racer Pro, Link the Racer, Royally Stone, Dubs, all these drivers right on top of each other in this little 5-car pack right now. Looking at that Blue Angel number 7 going to the inside of Waterfire's machine right now. He'll complete the overtake, but slides a little bit wide in turn 2. That gives the 67 a chance to move back into his inside, side by side between the 7 and the 67 as they go down the back straightaway this time by. There's another little pack, a little bit smaller pack farther up the road. This is Dawson 14, JDM Culture, and Zodiac 9257. We also are starting to see Savage Speeder and SRD Shredder gain a little bit closer. They seem to be maintaining a gap about 0.8 of a second between themselves and the top two right now, as we are coming up on 10 laps into the event. Real quickly, let's look at the tire wear of everyone on track. 19.2% on the most worn tire here for Ghost Reaper. For TazeBot, who is running right behind him, he is at 20%. So Taze is burning through his tires a little bit faster. Savage Speeder, who's running in the third position, he's at 19.5%. Then SRD Shredder, who runs just a little bit behind him, is also at 19.5%. So these drivers are doing a good job managing their tires. We go to fifth place here. This is Dawson 14. He is at 20.8% tire life. Just behind him is JDM Culture, who's also trying to do a little bit of draft shenanigans. He's at 21.7%. Then you go down here to Zodiac 9257. You start getting into these packs a bit. He's at 22% already. PRG Black is even farther back right now in the 8th position with Waterfire behind. He's got a harder tire compound. He's at 15% right now, so he's going to be staying out on track for a while. He's got Waterfire right behind him. Waterfire also on the harder compound tire. So our top 7 all on a soft tire compound right now, but it is harder tires farther back. Shredder and Savage Speeder have swapped positions, but in the process of doing so, they have lost time and they have now fallen 1.2 seconds off of our top 2, and like we normally see in these PPRL races here at Miami is just a bunch of 2-car tandems throughout the entire field right now until you get back here to about the 7th position. Zodiac trying to hold on to the draft of Dawson and JDM Culture just ahead. Gen 3 LLS is likely going to be the first driver to go a lap down on pace, off the back of pace, although he did hit the wall earlier and bleed off a lot of time, and that didn't help him any. Then you also have Royally Stone, Visible Rocket, Boss Racer Pro. Those 3 drivers are all here in this little pack, along with the likes of Dub1775 and Link the Racer right now. Boss gets up into the outside wall there just a bit. And it looks like we are starting to see Savage Speeder and Shredder. They are not agreeing with who wants to lead between this two. And every time this duo switches, they lose about 1/4 of a second to the rest of the field. So while both these drivers are very fast, if they're not willing to put their differences aside and just start running in time with each other, they will lose ground. Although now we see TazeBot and Ghost Reaper swapping. This was a lot smoother though. Ghost Reaper just let off in the straightaway and let TazeBot go right by without any issue whatsoever. So TazeBot goes back to the lead, and Ghost Reaper has actually lost a huge chunk of time off of TazeBot. He's fallen about 1/3 of a second back behind Taze. Now he'll use the draft to start closing back in on Taze. You'll likely get a fantastic run down the front straightaway here. Already he's down back within 1/3 of a second. Now to about 1/4 of a second by the time they get down the front straightaway. The gap now seems to be opened just a bit between this duo, so these pair of Taze and Ghost are not as perfectly hooked up as we thought they would be, as it looked like they were going to be earlier in the event. And this group is slowly closing down on the lap traffic of Benzeme and Adam. Benzeme's 1 lap down, Adam is 2 laps down. Reminder, Adam is Savage Speeder's father, so we have a father-son duo running in this series right now. And Ghost Reaper is finally closing back in on TazeBot. He's gotten right back behind the 00 machine there. A little bit farther back, it is Dawson, JDM Culture, and Zodiac. Those 3 seem to be pretty well established between themselves as well. And then you have to go way on back until you start seeing the rest of the field. PRG Black is starting to scoot away from Waterfire. Then you have Dubs, Link the Racer, Royally Stone, Visible Rocket, and then Boss Racer Pro is losing touch with them. Then you have Gen 3 LS. He is running there with Hockey, who is a lap down. So Gen 3 right now is the last person still on the lead lap. So after some chaos early on for some of our back markers, everything's kind of calming down a bit. We are getting some hints of fighting at the front of the field, though it does seem like Taze and Ghost want to go back and forth through these positions. And now we see Ghost Reaper through the corner is going to muscle his way by Taze. Now we'll see Taze get a big run down the straightaway, and we'll use the draft to close back in. But now, because those two fought for a little bit, that duo Savage Speeder and SRD Shredder are now back to being within 1 second of our top 2. So now you have to wonder how much of this race may end up being decided in the pit stops if you're only a second out from the top two guys ahead, it may come down to how far can you go on your fuel and tire run, and when you pit, how short can you make your pit stop? That might end up being the big defining factor. That, and obviously traffic, because like I said, traffic is already about to come into play here for these drivers at the head of the field. Our top four has been scooting away from the rest of the grid. The gap from 4th to 5th alone is about 1.2 seconds right now. And now we're starting to see Savage Speeder and Shredder falling off just a little bit. This duo does not seem to have their cars and their duo between each other hooked up in the same way that Ghost Reaper and Tazebot do. And now we're starting to see them lose significant amounts of ground. Also, Zodiac has completely lost touch with the duo of Dawson and JDM Culture. So again, the two-car tandem is the way to go. You will not be competitive here at Homestead, Miami, unless you are doing the two-car tandem. And right now, it seems like this duo of Shredder and Savage, while both of them are very fast on their own, they do not seem to be able to hook up in this two-car tandem like the other drivers on track are. Ghost Reaper leads Tazebot, and the two of them are in a position where they can freely swap spots between each other if they so need to, as Savage and Shredder have now fallen a second and a half off of the lead, and Dawson is bringing JDM Culture with him. We are going to see a fight for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th momentarily here at Homestead, Miami. Gonna go ahead and ride on board with Adam 24 as he looks behind him at the top 6 cars all closing down on him right now. You can see that Taze takes it a little bit higher line entering 1 and 2, and then he comes to a little bit tighter exit, and that's going to let him pull up right behind Ghost going down the straight, so they're not really bleeding off too much time. Now that duo is over a 2nd and 3/4 ahead of the duo in 3rd and 4th. So, barring yellow flags, it looks like it will be Ghost Reaper and Tazebot that are just going to destroy the entire field here. Taze holding a much tighter line this time, and he's going to go to the inside of Adam here. Reminder, Adam 2 laps down, so he is not going to put any serious fight up against this duo. They'll get by him in a straight line. But look at this. We are about to have a 4-car fight for position here. Savage, Shredder, Dawson, and JDM Culture. So while Ghost Reaper and Taze are vanishing off into the distance, this foursome could start getting interesting. The interesting thing about Ghost Reaper is that Ghost has shown a lot of potential. Same with Boss Racer Pro, although it's not really happened for Boss this time. Ghost Reaper and Boss Racer Pro typically show a lot of ability and a lot of potential early on in these races, but as the races go on, they seem to burn out a bit, lose a little bit of time, lose a bit of ground, and fall down the order. Taze does not have that problem, but if Taze ends up in a scenario where he's running around with no real drafting partner, that could end up negatively affecting him here. Ghost and Taze have pretty much stopped extending their gap on Savage and Shredder, but we're going to see that gap open up very shortly here, because once these 4 drivers start fighting, it's going to be all hands on deck. Zodiac has fallen 5 seconds off of the lead. Royally Stoned is already about a third of a lap off of the lead group. And then from Royally Stoned, you get Dubs, and then Visible Rocket, Link the Racer. There's another big gap to Waterfire and Boss Racer Pro, both who are about a lap down. And Royally Stoned is coming into the pits right now. One of our lead lap drivers, why is he coming into the pits? He has already burned up those tires, 58.7% on Royally Stone's right front. It looks like Shredder has just moved back by Savage Speed. He's trying to go the long way around. Ghost Reaper and Tazebot are pitting on lap 26, but Shredder is staying out for a little bit. In fact, everyone in our top 6 is pitting except for SRD Shredder. Mind you, Shredder's on the same tires as all these guys, but he wants to run a little bit deeper into this run. So he is going to try and push the tires a little bit farther. Reminder, Link the Racer, Visible Rocket, those are drivers who put on a harder compound tire. They're on medium tires right now. They've got a little bit more life in them. They don't have the speed, but they've got a little bit more life. Amongst all those drivers who just came out of the pits, though, here comes the run out, and Zodiac is going to pit at the end of this lap. Shredder staying out on circuit for another time around. We are a little bit over a tenth of the way through the race. So it seems like a set of soft tires can last you a little bit more than 1/10 of the race. So if you did all softs all the way through and there was no yellow flag, you would make it. 9 laps over the course of the event. I mean, not 9 laps, 9 stops over the course of the event. Now, I do imagine some drivers will try and cut out a pit stop if they think they can get away with it. They might throw on some medium tires to try and cut out a pit stop later on, but for the moment, it seems like a vast majority of the field went ahead and put on softs early on. Visible Rocket now pitting out of what had been the 4th position. You see, he's at 64%. Once you start hitting about that 60 to 62% marker, that's when you start losing huge chunks of time. Shredder has got to be coming in at the end of this lap, you would imagine. No, he is going to stay out for another lap, but there is a driver that just went really slow there. That was one of our lap guards. That was Benzween, who was really slow. He may have hit the wall there. No damage. He has just now gotten onto fresh tires. But right now, Shredder leads over Link the Racer with PRG Black in 3rd. This fight of Shredder and Link the Racer is what we saw going to the final lap 2 weeks ago at Brands Hatch, although now the circumstances that put them like this are a little bit different. And now Shredder pits the end of lap 30, so that's about 29 racing laps for Shredder, so Shredder is showing a lot more willingness to go much, much deeper into these runs. Savage Speeder also went ahead and pitted with the other drivers, but he did not put as much fuel in the car, so he jumped ahead of the other drivers he had been fighting with in track position, but now he does not have a dancing partner, and with 2-car tandems being the name of the game here at Homestead, Miami, with no drafting partner, Savage Speeder is going to be in a world of hurt, and he is not the only one. SRD Shredder, while he stayed out for a lot longer, is also going to be in a world of hurt not having a drafting partner. We see Savage trying to fight with this group of cars, trying to break up some of these other tandems, so he doesn't lose too much time, but it's just not working. These drivers are not playing by his bait, and all of this group get well clear of SRD Shredder. In fact, they will be so far ahead of Shredder. Shredder has lost the draft on them completely. Now, of course, the big thing is right now, this is now a group of 5 drivers all fighting there, 3 wide for a position, and that Toyota GR car very nearly gets into the outside wall. He does. He hits the outside wall there just a bit, and Savage Speeder will fall to last in this group of 5 cars. So we'll likely see Dawson and Taze hook back up, and then Ghost Reaper and JDM Culture hook up. Well, maybe not. Savage Speeder coming back to the inside, trying to make it 3 wide again as they go down the back straightaway. Again, SRD Shredder running a little bit behind them. He has slightly fresher tires, but with no draft, he needs these drivers to spend a lot of time fighting. Otherwise, he is going to be left out to dry, because it doesn't matter how good your pit stop strategies are if you just can't keep up with the drivers doing the 2-car tandems. Although right now, we have the other strategy to talk about. Link the Racer is finally pitting at the end of lap 33. He pushes medium tires out to the 51% mark. PRG Black now inherits the race lead. He is at 52% right now, and he can likely stay out on track for quite a bit longer if he so chooses. Waterfire is another driver who is still out here on harder tires right now. He is not yet at the 50% mark, so he's doing a good job saving his rubber right now. Dawson is gone into the lead of everyone on the soft tire strategy of starting the race on the soft tires. Real quick, I look at SRD Shredder, who runs just a little bit behind this group. He's only at 7.6% right now. I look at Dawson, who pitted about 3-4 laps earlier. He is at 18.3%. So again, Shredder has a tire advantage, but that just doesn't really mean anything if you do not have the draft. The draft is more important than tires until the very end of the tire life right now. But this group here, Savage Speeder, Tazebot, JDM Culture, they will not stop fighting, and if they keep it up, they will drag SRD Shredder back into it, and then all of a sudden, another one of your championship contenders will be right there. But of your 3 tile contenders, it is Dawson who is leading on the main strategy. Tazebot is running 4th on that strategy. Shredder is running 5th on that strategy. PRG Black and Waterfire are going nice and deep into this run on a set of harder tires, trying to make something unique happen here. It looks like Savage Speeder and JDM Culture have hooked up, and now we're going to likely see them try to run down Dawson here, as they have reestablished a new 2-car pack between each other. Reminder, all these drivers, Dawson, Savage, Culture, Taze, and Ghost Reaper, who's actually fallen off this group a bit, they all pitted on the same lap. Ghost has actually lost a significant amount of time to those drivers ahead. Now, he's only at 15.5% right now, which leads me to think that Ghost Reaper has probably put on a set of medium tires, so he wants to start cutting out pit stops now. Because he pitted at the same time as those drivers, but he is losing ground, and he is not burning up his tires. So on a harder tire compound, he's hoping to get back into the lead later. And now we see Shredder. He's caught Tazebot, is going to go the long way around and will overtake Taze at the moment. But it is Dawson 14 who leads right now with Savage Speeder just behind and JDM Culture. So we may have a three-man fight for what would be third on track right now, but would eventually turn into a fight for the overall race lead once Black and Waterfire get off of their worn medium tires. We have not had any yellow flags thus far in the race. Dawson, Savage Culture, all run nose to tail, third, fourth, and fifth on track right now. Waterfire is 7 seconds up the road from them. PRG Black, your leader right now, is 14 seconds up the road from this group. Now it looks like JDM Culture is falling off just a little bit. Savage has got right up behind Dawson. He now looks to the inside of that 95 machine. Not 95, the 96 machine. About a car length between first and second, and a car length between second and third now as the draft pulls JDM Culture right back into it. Shredder motored right by Tazebot with no issue, but again, now Shredder is in the scenario where he does not have draft, but these three drivers ahead of him do. Although Shredder has slightly fresher tires, so we may see once we get to about lap 45 to 50 or so, we'll likely see the draft start playing back into Shredder's favor here. Look at the tire wear. Dawson's already at 31.6 on his most worn tire. Black pitting now. I look at Savage Speeder. He is at 31.5%. I look at JDM Culture. He is at 32.7%. So he's wearing his tires a little bit more than the drivers ahead. Now I look to SRD Shredder back here in 6th. Only 22.5% because he stayed out a little bit longer earlier in the event now. And the question is going to be, how far is Shredder going to do that? If he can add about 3 more laps to each stint, does he think there's a possibility he can cut out an entire pit stop later on? I don't really see that being very likely, but you have to wonder if that is a strategy he's going to go for. Savage Speeder now goes around Dawson. Waterfire is your leader on an alternate strategy. Although he doesn't have a lot of pace, he is leading on an alternate strategy right now. Just about nose to tail, but now we see Dawson pull up right behind that right rear quarter panel of the 8. He'll fall back in line, nose to tail as they go down the back straightaway. He pokes the nose to the inside, but he's not going to make a move. Again, this trio is trying to outrun Shredder and Tazebot. And now that Taze does not have drafting help, he is falling off right now. Shredder got into the wall farther back that time, so that's not going to help him out whatsoever. So it is Waterfire who is about to be caught here by Savage Speeder. Reminder, these two drivers do not like each other. It was Savage Speeder that Waterfire knocked off circuit back at Brands Hatch. Now Waterfire still has plenty of fuel in the car, but he's at 64% tire wear, and he's into the outside wall. He is significantly slower than the other drivers. Is he going to end up causing problems for this lead group? We've heard these problems before, where Waterfire is accused of holding up and causing significant troubles. Back in the All-Star race here at the end of last season, he was accused of holding up drivers for a long period of time. No such issue this time. He'll hold a nice, consistent outside line and let Savage Speeder go by without issue. Now we see Dawson follow through and JDM Culture follows through as well. And now Waterfire pits after losing the lead of the race. So at the front, it is Savage Speeder, Dawson 14, and JDM Culture running just about nose to tail. And they have pulled out a gap of over 1.5 seconds on SRD Shredder. Shredder is trying to run this race solo with minimal drafting help, trying to rely on strategy to get ahead of these drivers here on track. The 8 pulls up right behind that 42. And now we'll see Dubs go a lap down. Gen 3 will be the next driver who will likely to go a lap down here. Savage gets right on the back of that other Mellow Yellow car. We have 2 different Mellow Yellow cars of 2 different eras, but now both of them have gone a lap down at the same point. Savage Speeder to the lead now. He is trying to pull away a bit from Dawson, but Dawson clears traffic very smoothly. So does JDM Culture, and the top 3 are all right on top of each other. 1, 2, 3 once again. One of those Mellow Yellow cars hit the outside wall in turns 3 and 4 and is going to bleed off a bit of time. But we will see Gen 3 try to use the draft to keep up with this trio for a bit longer. Savage Speeder leads, but look at his tires. He's at 47.5% right now. We're going to go ahead and ride on board for a flying lap with Savage Speeder as we take a Twitch-mandated ad break. We'll be back shortly here at Miami. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Homestead Miami Speedway. We are under caution for the first time today, a little bit past the race's 1/5 mark. And this was perfect timing for most of our lead pack because the vast majority of them were all about to pit in the next 1 to 3 laps. But now they'll all get a chance to go ahead and make a pit stop under the yellow flag here. Sadly, we did not get to see what brought out this yellow flag here. I was looking, it wasn't like I just walked away, but I did not see anything that looked like it warranted a yellow flag. At this stage of the race, though, we still have 10 of our 19 starters on the lead lap, and then we have 4 more drivers, 1 lap down, 2 drivers 2 laps down, 2 drivers 3 laps down, and 1 driver is 4 laps down right now. The newcomers to the series, Binsweem and Adam, running last and second to last right now, really having a bad trial by fire day right now here at Homestead Miami. We're likely going to see the vast majority of the lead pack pitting as we come around this time here. This is great news for the likes of Taysbot because now he can try and catch up with somebody and do some drafting shenanigans. This is also really good news for Savage Speeder as he is your leader, and now we're going to see the vast majority of the field going to go ahead and make pit stops. You can see the field coming down pit lane. It looks like everyone who was on the lead lap is going to pit, with the lone exception being PRG Black 30. So Black is committed to an alternate strategy. He is going to start the head of the field, but all these drivers will be putting on new, what we believe will be soft tires, will be right behind him. Now, it looks like Savage Speeder will be out first, then Dawson will be second. Shredder moves up to third in that group. Taysbot will move up to fourth in that group. Then will be Ghost Reaper, Visible Rocket, JDM Culture, Royally Stone, then Boss Racer Pro. And now we see all the drivers who had just gotten their lap back by doing the rave around. They now get their chance to knock out a pit stop here under the yellow flag. It looks like Link the Racer is going to stay out, but everyone else here, so Waterfire, Dubs, Zodiac, Gen 3, they're all going to get their service done here. Hockey is going to go only 1 lap down now, and Learart is going to get 1 of his laps back as well. So your leaders are now going to be just a little bit different. PRG Black leads. He is running on an alternate strategy right now. He's only got 16.6% wear on these tires. He's obviously saving fuel, so he's poised to go a decent distance, a decent run into this pit sequence. Might be able to stay out here on track a little bit longer than some of the other drivers here, but he's going to be alongside Savage Speeder with Dawson 14 behind, Shredder behind as well, and Taysbot. So once again, your 3 main championship contenders of Dawson, Shredder, and Taze, they're all bunched up together, 3rd, 4th, and 5th right now. Your other championship contender, that is Ghost Reaper. He is way farther down the grid. Well, not that much farther, but he is farther down the grid back in the 6th spot. Ghost is not in a bad position, but he needs to either move up to the front right away or hope some tragedy befalls Dawson, Shredder, and Taze if he wants to seriously start making noise in this championship fight. So the entire field is now grouped up, and I imagine we should be able to go green this time. But it doesn't look like they're doubling up, so for whatever reason, it does not look like we're going to go green flag this time by here at Miami. Oh, now they're doubling up. Okay, that was a late. They waited quite a while to double up, but it looks like we should be going green this time by. So we'll be going green on lap 54 here. Black is on older, harder tires than everyone else in the field. Everyone from 2nd down to 10th are on nice, fresh, soft tires. Coming to the green flag once again here at Homestead Miami Speedway. We should not have another yellow flag for the next 10 laps. And Black gets a fantastic launch, well clear of everyone else. Savage Speeder is going to fall to 2nd in line on the inside as Shredder and Dawson are stuck, fighting side by side just behind them now. It looks like it's going to be Dawson who's going to get the better of that number 10 machine. The 10 and the 96 side by side as they go down the back straightaway. Now Savage Speeder pulling up, try to go the long way around Black, but he's going to go really high, a little bit too high, and now he's going to fall out of the top 3. So Dawson now moves up into 2nd position. He'll go to the inside of Black. He's got Shredder pushing him. Taze gets to the inside of Savage Speeder. Savage can't do anything. He's still stuck on the outside, and now he's being held up by Black, and Black's old tires Finally, Savage clears him, but Savage has now fallen to 5th position, and your top 4 in the championship are now the top 4 drivers on track, almost in perfect order. Shredder is trapped on the outside. There's nothing he can do. It is Dawson who is leading on the inside. He has Taze pushing him. Now Taze abandons him and goes looking to the inside, side by side for a lead. As they cross the line, still side by side, Taze gets the car about and nose ahead as they fire off into turns 1 and 2 again. Now we see Ghost Reaper forcing his way alongside and clear of Dawson. Here comes SRD Shredder with the run of his own. He pulls up behind the number 96 now. Ghost Reaper now right behind Taze again. Are we going to see this duo try to break away from the field? Savage Speeder has pulled back up to the rear of SRD Shredder's car once again. Onto the front straightaway once again now. It is a bigger pack farther back, but we are really focused here on the front as that number 27 is now hooked up with a 00, and they are back to trying to do some drafting shenanigans, it would appear. The 96 of Dawson is trying to keep SRD Shredder just behind him, and now Ghost goes to the inside of Taze. A little bit of trouble here in paradise between our top 2 drivers right now. Ghost is going to clear the move. He will complete the overtake on Taze. Taze falls to 2nd. Now he is under threat from Dawson. Shredder washes up high in turn 4. He's going to fall well back. It's going to leave him open to attack from Savage Speeder, and that might be all it takes to let our top 3 scoot away for a bit. No! Savage Speeder is actually going to complete the overtake. He is now close enough to get a draft on Dawson. Dawson is trying to figure out a way to get alongside Taze, and Taze is hooked to that rear bumper of Ghost Reaper. Into turns 3 and 4 once again now, and this group of 5 has already pulled out nearly 2 seconds on the rest of the field. Black is right in 6th position, but again, reminder, Black is on older, harder tires trying to make some wild alternate strategy work right now. No big changes between our top 5 at the moment. It looks like for the moment they are all content in running where they are. But how long will that last? Well, it's over already. Dawson is committed to a move on the inside, side by side for a 2nd position as they fire off into turns 3 and 4. The 96 machine trying to hold it around the inside of the 00, but the 00 has the longer way around. He's going to get up right behind Ghost Reaper. Taze gets to the inside of Ghost Reaper. He'll fall back in line, but now here comes Dawson, the huge run. Dawson's going to complete the overtake on the 00. Dawson on the inside will now move up into the 2nd position. Here comes Savage Speeder. He'll follow Dawson through. Now he's going to get by. Shredder very nearly gets turned off the nose of Taze as he tried to slide in front of that 00 at the last possible moment. Savage Speeder trying to go the long way around Ghost Reaper. He comes down. They make door-to-door contact, the 2 of them, and that number 8 car goes high. He goes really high. He's going to back up the 10 of SRD Shredder behind. Ghost Reaper leads. Dawson trying to look to the outside. He'll fall back in line, single file for the top 5 again as they go into turns 1 and 2. Nose to tail for the top 5 positions. They fire it out of turn number 2. Down the back straightaway again. Ghost Reaper runs defensively, coming about 1 car length off of the inside line. He will not get side by side, but they are side by side behind as Tazebot gets back to the inside of Savage Speeder. Side by side between the 00 and the number 8. The 10 of SRD Shredder gives the 00 a little bit of a push. There's a little bit of contact at the front. Ghost Reaper is pushed by Dawson. Dawson gets Ghost Reaper just a little bit sideways. It holds them all up. Now Savage Speeder gets to the inside of Dawson. Dawson is trapped on the extreme outside line. He is now going to fall to 4th position. He makes contact with SRD Shredder. They both bounce off the outside wall in turn number 2. That was the 2nd time that Shredder tried to move up right in front of somebody coming through turn 2. Last time they were able to get away without hitting the wall. This time both Shredder and Dawson hit the outside wall. They have now both fallen more than a second out of the lead duo, the lead trio I should say, and now it is Ghost Reaper, Savage Speeder, and Tazebot leading. Savage Speeder gets to the inside of Ghost Reaper. Taze is giving the number 8 a bit of a shove as they come out of turn number 2, and they will clear. Well, Savage clears the number 27, and now Taze clears the number 27 halfway down the straightaway. Shredder and Dawson stuck side by side. They cannot figure out how they're going to make things work between them. Those are 2 of the faster drivers, but they are not willing to make some 2-car tandeming work. They need this top 3 to get really aggressive with fighting, otherwise they are in trouble. The 00 is going to motor by the inside of that number 8 machine once again here. The 27 now side by side with the 8. The 8 is trapped on the outside line. It seems like between this 3-car pack here, whoever is leading, it's all fine and dandy until 2nd place decides I want to lead, and every time the leader gets shoved on the outside line, they go from 1st to 3rd almost instantly. It looks like Dawson has finally stabilized in 4th position with Shredder right behind him, but they are 1.3 seconds out of the lead trio right now. There is another 2-car tandem that could form momentarily. JDM Culture runs in 6th. PRG Black runs in 7th position. Reminder, Black is on those harder tires. He's only at 35% wear right now. I look at Taysbot, your leader, who had put soft tires on under this last yellow. He's at 29.4% tires. There is a possibility that Black might actually end up pitting around the same time as everyone else here, but he's lost some track position, so it's a bold strategy, but I'm not really sure it's going to play any massive dividends for Black here. I could be wrong, but I'm not confident that's really going to get him any significant time here. Now, Taze and Ghost Reaper are really starting to hook up. They've pulled about 1/3 of a second away from Savage Speeder. Savage still is close enough to get a fantastic draft on them, though, as they go down the straightaways. He closes back to about 3/10 of a second going into turns 3 and 4. He has a little bit tighter line as they go through 3 and 4. They fire onto the front straightaway again. He loses a bit of ground in the corners, but then makes it all back up in the draft. He's already back within 1/4 of a second, now right on the rear bumper of Ghost Reaper as they go into turns 1 and 2. So is Savage Speeder just saving his stuff, or is Taze and Ghost actually trying to hook up and gap the field just a little bit? Dawson and Shredder run in 4th and 5th position right now. As it stands right now, if everyone was to finish where they are, Tazebot would jump back into the points lead here. But there's still a lot of race left to go here. 68 laps complete. So we've been out here for about 16, 17 laps on this set of soft tires. They're not dead yet, but we're likely going to see pit stops in the next 10 laps for most of our lead pack. It does not seem like Dawson or Shredder really have anything to run down this lead trio. But again, earlier in the green flag run that started this race, Taze and Ghost opened up a big gap on most of the rest of the field. But then they got separated because Ghost went to get onto a harder set of tires, and Taze was kind of left solo for a while and fell down the grid. Similar scenario for Savage Speeder, it looked like, until Savage was able to convince someone else to work with him. If we see, Taze hit the outside wall coming out of turn number 2, that's going to let the number 27 pull up alongside. The 27 is going to rim right around the outside, and 27, a Ghost Reaper, will complete the overtake on the 00 in turns 3 and 4. Around the outside, you don't really see that very often with these cars, but Ghost Reaper goes back to the lead with an outside line overtake. Despite hitting the outside wall and holding up the pack a bit, this trio is still 1.5 seconds ahead of Dawson and Shredder in the 4th and 5th spots right now. They are still over 3 seconds ahead of JDM Culture in 6th. PRG Black has fallen to about 5.5 seconds out of our top 6 right now on track. And we currently have 14 of our 19 starters still on the lead lap, with Link the Racer and Hockey running in 15th and 16th position. Both of them are 1 lap down at this stage of the race. They now begin lap 71 here at Homestead, Miami. By this point, the track is nice and rubbered in. If you didn't like how the car felt earlier, you may be a lot more comfortable with how it is now. Savage Speeder tried to get to the inside of Tazebot, could not make it stick, so Savage stays in 3rd position behind Taze for the moment there, but that little bit of moment, that little bit of a hiccup, let Dawson and Shredder take out about 2/10 of the gap that they had to the lead trio. Ghost Reaper hit the outside wall in turn number 4. The 00 looks to the outside. Savage Speeder is going to go to the inside of Taze. Taze could not get alongside, neither could Savage Speeder, but they all got off sequence. Now the 27 slides wide in turn number 2. Taze goes to the inside. He'll complete the overtake. Now the number 8 looks to the inside. He will not complete the overtake as they go into turns 3 and 4. And now all of a sudden, Dawson and Shredder are starting to close the gap down a little bit. They just took off another 1/10 of a second just on the straightaway there alone. Already we're seeing drivers who are laps down pitting. Hockey and Bingeweed have just gone ahead and made pit stops. Ghost Reaper runs in 2nd. Now Savage Speeder looking to the inside of the 27, but will not have the speed to commit to the move. Taze buys your leader. Ghost Reaper runs in 2nd. Savage Speeder continues to run in the 3rd position. Dawson and Shredder seem to have their ducks in a row finally, as they are trying to close in on this top 3 now. And now Ghost Reaper trying to give Taze a bit of a shove, as once again they're trying to break away from Savage Speeder. They do not want to have to deal with that number 8 machine, I imagine. But the big question is Ghost Reaper and Taze, would this duo be on the same tires after they make their pit stop that we anticipate will come in the next 5 to 6 laps here? 51% on that right front tire for Ghost Reaper. That is his most worn tire right now. Savage Speeder has now fallen to 1/2 second off of our lead duo. Now he's going to get a good tow down the straightaways here. But is it going to be enough to let him stay in contention where Savage pushed his tires a bit too far? It looks to me like Savage may have pushed his tires a bit too far. He's at 51%. Well, it doesn't look like he's at 51%. His tires aren't that cooked. He does have 17% still left in the tank. I look at Ghost Reaper. He has 55% left in the tank. So Ghost Reaper is playing for a short fill when he finally makes a stop, I imagine. And then Tazebot, who's your leader, also is at 55. So Savage Speeder will likely be in pit. Oh, and the number 27 of Ghost Reaper slaps the outside wall coming out of turn number 4. That causes him to bleed off a bit of time to Taze. Savage Speeder is able to hold on to the draft just a little bit longer. But again, Ghost Reaper and Savage Speeder will not have to put as much fuel into their tanks when they finally make their next pit stop. That could have monumental impacts on the way the rest of this race plays out. If those two overfilled intentionally so that way they can short fill when they make green flag stops, it could give them a little bit extra ground and really let them break away from Savage Speeder. Savage continues to run about half a second off of this group. Dawson and Shredder have now fallen a bit over a second and a half off of the lead group right now. I look at Dawson real quickly. His tires, his most worn tires at 57.7%. I look at SRD Shredder, who's running in the 5th position right behind. His most worn tires only at 54.3%. Again, for comparison, Tazebot, your leader right now, is at 57%. So Shredder seems to be managing his tires just a little bit better right now. Shredder's not really pushing for any crazy numbers. He's just trying to make the tires last. Dawson into the outside wall, and Shredder's going to go to his inside. So side by side for 4th and 5th. That will let this lead trail pull away. Savage Speeder has closed back in on Ghost Reaper. He looks to the inside, but does not have a significant momentum on the number 27 machine. The 00, the 27, the 8 are your top 3 now as they go down the back straightaway once again here. Firing it off now into turns 1, 3, and 4. And now we see Tazebot coming into the pits. Ghost Reaper, though, is he going to stay out? No, Ghost Reaper has missed the pit in. Oh my goodness, Ghost Reaper has missed pit in. He's going to back up to come back into the pits. But he missed pit in, so now it is Shredder who is out in front. Also, mind you, Dawson pit as well, but Shredder stays out on track now. He is out in front by 4 seconds. He has no one to work with, but he is basically solo on track. Everyone else who is in the lead pack has pitted after about 28, 29 laps on those soft tires. Shredder, his tire life right now, he is at 60%, and he has shown willingness to go a little bit deeper into these tire runs as he's trying to get a positive delta. JDM Culture runs in the 2nd position right now. Also of note, PRG Black pitted with that group, so his old worn out medium tires went off at about the same time as all those drivers, so not a big change there. So now, here's the thing, Dawson is right behind Taze, and Taze is just in 10th right now. Then you have Savage Speeder. He is barely on the lead lap, trying to get up to speed against SRD Shredder. Shredder on the lead lap, trying to run in the draft of the number 8. I don't think he's really interested in trying to put the 8 lap down. I imagine that Shredder just wants to run in the draft of the number 8 for a little bit, get a little bit of extra lap time here before he finally does make a pit stop. So everyone else in this lead pack pitted on lap 79. How much longer is Shredder going to stay out here? Looks like Shredder is really hemorrhaging time, though, already in just a single lap alone. It looks like Savage Speeders opened up the gap on Shredder by about a second to a second and a half. Shredder does get a draft in the straightaways, but those old tires just do not have anything for him. So when Shredder pits, he's going to be way behind this lead group. Real quickly, I look at our 2nd place driver, JDM Culture. JDM's tires at 68%, so he has pushed these tires to a very, very deep amount of wear. Then Boss Racer Pro and Waterfire, these teammates running back here, 47% tire wear for Boss. Waterfire, who's riding right behind him, he is at 44.7. Shredder is pitted on lap 82, so Shredder can stay out on track for about 3 laps longer on a set of tires, it would appear. But every time he stays out, he hemorrhages a huge amount of track time to the other drivers he is fighting. And he needs to figure out a way to turn this track position disadvantage, but tire advantage, into a overall track position advantage as this race goes on. So JDM Culture is about to inherit the race lead, assuming he doesn't pit at the end of this lap, but he is at 71% on that outside right front tire right now. He's not pitting this time, though. I look at Shredder, who is in the pits. Well, no, he's already out. He's already completed his pit stop, but he is more than 2 seconds behind Dawson right now. He is already behind Savage Speeder by about 2 seconds, I would say. So Dubs now pits out of the 6th position. So Tazebot is now in a spot where him and and Dawson, this duo of Taze and Dawson are hooked up, and they can try a 2-car tandem to run away from the rest of the field. So this is going to be the big thing. If it ends up being Shredder versus Taze and Dawson, well, if Taze and Dawson can keep their 2-car tandeming going, Shredder doesn't have anyone to draft with. Shredder is going to have to try and rely on some strategy shenanigans to get big track position on this duo. Otherwise, he's just not going to have an answer for them. As we see them go ahead and put Adam a 4th lap down there. Your leader is still JDM Culture, who is pushing this set of tires he is on much, much farther than he probably should be. 76.6%. Surely he has to come this time by. He is not coming into the pits this time by, it would appear. And that duo of Waterfire and Boss Racer Pro are running them down. Water is on a harder tire compound. I believe he put on the medium tires, trying to burn up an entire fuel load right now. But while we are in this bit of a holding pattern in the middle of green flag stops, we're going to go ahead and knock out a Twitch-mandated ad break. When we come back, we anticipate we'll see some of our top 5 drivers go ahead and make their third stop of the day. We'll be back momentarily here at Homestead, Miami. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here, Homestead Miami Speedway. Gen 3 LS 79 has had an accident in turns 1 and 2. He is trying to limp the car around into the pit lane as he has significant damage on the nose of the car. But there is no indication that that is going to bring out a yellow flag here. Second place, Visible Rocket pits. Waterfire is leading as he is trying to stretch out a run on the harder tires as far as he can. But it is going to be Taze and Dawson. This duo are probably the favorite 2 drivers to win this race right now. They went ahead, were in the lead pack. They made their first round of, well, technically their 3rd round of stops. Now they've come out and they're right along with each other. They can do some tandem drafting to try and break away from the rest of the field. While they are at a tire life disadvantage to SRD Shredder, they are at a significant pace advantage by being able to run in the draft like they have been. In fact, they've been at such a pace advantage. They actually got, while we were under caution flag, they got a little bit physical and got a little bit door banging, trying to figure out who between them actually should be leading right now. At this stage of the race, 8 of our 19 stars are still on the lead lap. Then we have 5 drivers, 1 lap down, 2 drivers are 2 laps down, 3 drivers are 3 laps down, and Adam, who is making his first ever start in this series, is currently running 8 laps down, just not having a good time of it. Waterfire now finally jumps into the pit lane, so that will go ahead and put JDM Culture and Boss Racer Pro and Visible Rocket all back on the lead lap. Visible Rocket is a bit of an interesting case because he had just pitted just a little bit ago, and he is about to go a lap down to that duo of Taze and Dawson, but Visible Rocket was on a harder compound tire, so even if he gets caught and overtaken by the duo of Taze and Dawson here, it might still work out in his favor if he's on another set of harder tires. But yeah, Taze and Dawson already in the 35% tire wear marker. SRD Shredder running back here in 4th on track. He is at only 24% on his tire life right now. Then you have Savage Spear, who's kind of reigning in third position. Doesn't really have a drafting partner right now. He is also at 34%. Savage, once again, showing a lot of potential, but just one or two things just not going right, and it's causing everything to slip away from him here. That is Adam, who is taking an extreme inside line there, as SRG Shredder is trying to clear that number 25 machine. Still hasn't cleared him, and now he'll clear him. PRG Black, who didn't pit under the last yellow, but basically ended up pitting with the rest of the field anyway, is currently running in the 6th position. But he's only got 25% on the tires. I believe he has put on another set of the harder compound tires. Saying is, considering that he pitted with everyone else but ended up losing a bunch of time, he probably should have pitted anyway and put on some softs just so he could match, and then he wouldn't be as far behind. Right now, PRG Black is about 2/3 of a lap behind our leaders right now. There's another car that is slow. That is Hockey 2487, who is slow as they go through turns 1 and 2. No damage to the car, but my guess is that he may have hit the wall coming out of turn 4 and bled off a huge chunk of speed in the process. 10 drivers are on the lead lap right now. Waterfire in 10th position is going to likely be one of the last drivers to put on another set of tires. He can stay out here for a very long period of time. He is just dragging the life out of these tires as far as he can. He's losing a lot of track position doing it, but he is trying to potentially cut out pit stops or shorten up pit stops later in the event. And that is the big thing here. It's all about, do you want to make more pit stops and have sheer pace, or fewer pit stops but have less pace? Because when you pit here, you lose about 9/10 to a full lap in time overall here. Shredder has closed the gap from himself to the leaders down to just within 4 seconds. But again, Taze and Dawson drafting shenanigans. As long as the two of them continue to pit with each other time and time and time again, they will be in a fantastic spot. A little bit farther back, this is Zodiac, 92.57, running in 7th position. JDM Culture at 8th, just a little bit farther back. JDM Culture not really showing much likelihood that he's going to be able to catch Zodiac and start some drafting shenanigans unless Zodiac has some sort of issue here. But we're getting into the realm of a little bit more of some strategy wildness here. Again, the fuel tanks are not really big enough to warrant throwing on the harder tires, so it's really just a two optional tires. You have the softer tires, which will burn up well before you go through a full fuel tank, but they have a lot of speed. Then you have the medium tires, which you can go a full fuel tank on. You can stay on them a lot longer, but they just do not have that sheer amount of speed. Looks like Boss Racer Pro and Waterfire have actually caught each other on track, so this duo may try some more drafting shenanigans just between the two of them. That's at number 45, Excite Machine, who is running in the 17th position as Lear Art just behind them right now. Shredder is now starting to lose ground again to that top two, it would appear. We'll look at the tire life. Tazebot, he is already at 52.9% on that right front tire. Look at Dawson, who is right behind him. He is at 52.2%, and both of them don't really have a lot of fuel left. Then here's Savage Speeder running back here in third. He's at 50%, so Savage is kind of laying back a bit and saving tires. Might try stay out an extra lap here. Then you have Shredder back here in fourth. He is at 41.3% tire life right now. But again, with no drafting help, Shredder is just hemorrhaging and bleeding away critical lap time to our lead duo. And then you have to go way back, almost half a lap from the lead to 5th place. This is Ghost Reaper running in 5th. So of our 4 championship contenders, Ghost is the one who has the most outsider chance of making anything happen. And right now, it's just not looking very good for him. There's been an instant here. That is Adam, who is incredibly swervy there on the straight. He's into the outside wall. Seems like he has completely lost control somehow. Not sure what's going on here. No damage to the car from our perspective. Looks like he's got the tires warmed back up, but single car incident for Adam, but he's able to keep going, but he is on track to go 10 laps down here, so he has basically gone 1 lap down once every 10 laps, and mind you, that is with a yellow flag helping him out just a bit. It has not been a good time for Adam whatsoever. Shredder looks like he's struggling trying to get by some lap traffic there. That's Visible Rocket. Dawson is pitting earlier than Taze, and Savage Speeder is going to pit early as well, so Dawson stays out until the tires hits the 60% mark. How much longer is Taze going to stay out here? He is caught in the middle of traffic. He's trying to get by those Chumba Casino guys. He's at 62%, trying to go the long way around the 67 to 97. Mind you, that is Waterfire, one of the drivers who have been accused of really holding up the leaders and causing them grief here. Oh, yes, he is. Taze is going to pit this time now. Not a smooth way in the pit lane, but he is in the pits. So the lead goes back now to SRD Shredder, who is only at 50. No, he's not yet 50. He's about to hit 50, but he's not quite hit 50% tire life. So once again, Shredder able to stay out on his tires much longer than everyone else, but he hemorrhages so much time doing this strategy. If we have a very long green flag run, I imagine this strategy will eventually play dividends. We are on our longest green flag run thus far, but with all 19 drivers still on track, I don't know if this strat's going to work for Shredder. He may just have to figure out something else. PRG Black has cycled his way up into the second spot, but he is more than half a lap down to SRD Shredder right now. And he's likely going to have to pit in about 10 laps or so. Maybe a little less than 10, maybe a little more than 10 laps, maybe closer to 11 or 12 laps. Then a little bit behind him is JDM Culture, then Zodiac, and then here's Tazebot, who actually after pit stop has ended up just a bit ahead of Boss Racer Pro and Waterfire. But Dawson, who had pitted a lap earlier than Taze, is still behind Boss Racer Pro. They are clear of Waterfire by a significant margin. In fact, Savage Speeder has just cleared Waterfire. So while Waterfire is going really deep into the tire runs, he just does not have any real pace to take advantage of how far he can run on the tires. Zodiac paying out of the fourth spot now. Look at SRD Shredder again. He's only at 56%. He's got some more laps. Now, he is catching a huge chunk of traffic here. A lot of these drivers he's about to catch are drivers who are in the top 8. Reminder, top 8 currently are the only drivers on the lead lap, although once Shredder pits, we're going to see an absolute ton of drivers suddenly cycle back onto the lead lap for a moment. But it looks like Tazebot and Dawson have found each other again, and now they can start doing some drafting shenanigans. And again, as long as these two are drafting with each other, they will continue to pull out better and better lap times. I imagine when SRG Shredder pits, he's going to go from the lead to being probably about 10 seconds behind this duo with the way this race has been going. Another thing to consider is that with Shredder having the ability to go so much longer on his fuel tanks, that means he's basically going to be putting more fuel in the tank anyway. So his pit stops are going to be a bit longer. Not massively longer. We're talking in the realm of like 1/10 of a second. But that will be just another thing that will add up against him. SRD Shredder still runs in the first position right now, but we are waiting. When will he pit? He is at 61.9% tire life right now. Surely he comes in and pits this time by with 124 laps to go. We have not yet hit the halfway point of this race. The race has been flying by, but we just have so many laps. It's going to be a while until this is over. And no, Shredder is going to stay out for a little bit longer as he is running behind the lapped car, well, not yet lapped car, of Waterfire. Definitely an interesting case where Shredder where we have a lead lap driver actually benefiting from Waterfire right now. Another lap out on track for Shredder. I look at Dawson and Taze real quickly. They are closing the gap down with speed, but already 18% wear on Dawson's machine. I look at Taze, who pitted a lap early. He's already at 15.9% wear. So we're definitely in the zone where we're starting to see a bit of performance difference going on just with the tire life. It's really kind of somersaulting now. If we go another 100 laps green, Shredder is going to be about an entire pit stop ahead of this duo, but he's now pitted. So Shredder pits now, so we will now see the lead go over to the duo of JDM Culture and PRG Black. This duo also doing drafting shenanigans, but they are on much harder tires right now. That 26 comes down onto the apron. Not sure what's going on there. Oh, he's burnt up that tire. He's at 59%, so it looked like JDM Culture may have tried to come into the pits, but overestimated the speed he could come in with And now he's pulled off track, pulled off line to try and make it to the pit lane, missed it completely. Now he's lost ground to PRG Black, is going to lose a massive amount of track position in the process. Will he make it into the pit lane this time? Yes, he will, but that was a lot of critical time he's lost. So PRG Black now leading solo in that number 9 Lowe's machine. He's at 56.4% on the tires. He's almost burnt out all of his tire life, though. And when he pits, it will hand the lead of the race back over to Taze and Dawson. SRD Shredder is running about 6 to 7 seconds behind the duo of Taze and Dawson right now. JDM Culture still in pit lane. We're likely going to see him go a lap down momentarily here, but we are back to having 10 drivers on the lead lap right now. 2 drivers are 1 lap down. We have 3 drivers 2 laps down, 3 drivers 3 laps down, and Adam is currently running 8 laps down at this stage of the event. And JDM Culture is about to be put a lap down here by PRG Black by the looks of it, assuming Black doesn't pit momentarily here. Culture takes a nice wider line there. And here comes Black pulling up behind that number 26. Taze has gotten back in front of Dawson there. So that duo seems to be kind of swinging back and forth. They're not hard locked. One's pushing, one's leading. They seem to be willing to swap positions. And now that they know that they are gradually pulling away from Savage Speeder and significantly pulling away on SRD Shredder, at least at this stage of the event, it looks like Taze and Dawson are willing to spend a little bit of time fighting with each other to figure out, okay, well, I'm faster than you. Okay, then you go. Well, now I'm faster than you, so I need to go back in front. And they're willing to get a little bit physical with it if necessary. As now we see Taze and Dawson muscling their way by PRG Black, who are on those older, harder tires. They'll clear him without too much issue whatsoever. So Taze goes back into the lead. Black still has yet to make this stop of his, though. He's at 61.4%, but he only has 3.5% left in the fuel tank. If he's not pitting this lap, he'll have to pit the lap afterwards because he's almost out of gas. And he is pitting this time. And this will likely see PRG Black cycle a lap down here on circuit. But your leaders are Tazebot and Dawson. This duo was tied on top of the points coming into today's race. And now they are 1-2 on track. We're going to take a Twitch-mandated ad break. We'll be back momentarily here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you back here to Homestead Miami Speedway. A bit over halfway through our race tonight. Your leaders are Tazebot 44 and Dawson 14. Savage Speeder runs in third, close enough that he could still close. And then SRD Shredder in fourth is running a very aggressive modification of that main strategy. On the alternate strategies, though, is PRG Black along with Waterfire, who are really kind of leading that alternate strategy of running on the harder tire compounds. We're expecting that that strat will gain them a significant amount of track position if we have a very long green flag run, We have run this green flag run for about 70 laps right now, but the big thing is Taze and Dawson, while they are at a tire disadvantage to SRD Shredder, the two of them are doing drafting shenanigans, and by running with each other in the draft, they are trying to gap on everyone else. I do feel that even if we have a long green flag run to end this race with no more yellows, I do feel that this duo of Taze and Dawson are the two drivers in the catbird seat. They are the ones in the best position to pull off a victory here. And again, this duo was tied on top of the points coming into today's event. So winning here would have a very gigantic effect on how the rest of this race plays out. But the big thing to remember is that while Brands Hatch, the race that we had 2 weeks ago, we had a respectably long green flag run to end that race. We have not had a long green flag run to end any of our other races. We have had a restart with about 20 laps or less in all of our 3 earlier oval races this season. And then back in the All-Star race, which was done at the very end of December, where only drivers from the last season were invited to partake, there was a green-white checkered finish in that event as well. So PPRL does not have a history of long green flag runs ending their races on ovals. That's not to say it's going to be stuck that way forever, but generally speaking, we are expecting a late race yellow. The big question, though, is, well, how many people are going to be caught one or multiple laps down by the time that yellow comes out? Right now, if a yellow flag came out at this very moment, we would see 12 drivers get onto the lead lap. We'd have the 7 currently on the lead lap, and then everyone from 8 to 12 would get back onto the lead lap as well. Looks like Dawson's falling off of Taze just a little bit. Reminder, when these two last made their green flag stops, Dawson pitted 1 lap earlier than Taze. Also, still, I do suggest keeping a casual eye on Waterfire here in the 5th position. Doesn't really have anyone to draft with anymore, but on an alternate strategy where he's doing a lot of runs on harder compound tires, if we have a long green flag run to the end, he could end up bumping himself back in the top 5 positions. PRG Black has gone a lap down, though. So has JDM Culture and Zodiac. We are now down to just 6 drivers on the lead lap right now. This is Ghost Reaper. Again, one of our 4 championship contenders, but it's just not going that way. And the gap between him and the top 4 in the points is just continuing to get bigger and bigger as this is going on. Assuming that everyone finishes where they are right now, he would lose more ground to the trio of Taze, Dawson, and Shredder. Looks like Dawson's is trying to navigate traffic and is struggling with traffic navigation just a little bit more than he wants. He's still within about a third of a second, maybe a bit more than a third of a second off of Tazebot. So if he can catch a good draft down the straights, he should be able to close back in on that 0-0 and negate the time he has been losing. But real quick, I look at his tire life right now. He is already at 64%. He is pushing these tires much, much farther than I think he was anticipating. He basically is at 1 lap deficit to Taze here. Taze has just now hit the 60% tire wear marker. For comparison, Shredder, who is on the same strategy but with a very heavy modification of it, because he's able to go so much deeper, he's not yet hit the 40% mark when it comes to his tire wear. And here we go. Dawson gets to the inside of Taze here. And it looks like Dawson and Taze paying at the same time. Oh, and that was a little close there by JDM Culture, who went ahead and jumped into the pits with them. So now, as SRG Shredder goes to the lead, Savage Spear is pitted with them as well. So now, Shredder's going to have a few laps where he's going to be leading. Now, his tires have some wear on them, but again, Shredder is hoping that with a long enough green flag run, he can basically cut out a pit stop and catch a gigantic portion of the field a lap down. If the race goes really long under green flag, he may be able to catch a big chunk of the field 2 laps down and try to use that to give himself a massive advantage going forward here. So right now, 12 drivers are either on the lead lap or a lap down, and in the case of a yellow flag, everyone who is a lap down or more than 1 lap down gets 1 lap back. But again, the longer Shredder can stay out here, the more people he can put 2 laps down, the easier it makes his race later when we have that inevitable later race yellow. That is Zodiac who hit the outside wall there and he'll pit. So now we are down just 5 drivers on the lead lap. None of them outside of Waterfire being drivers who have been running a harder compound tire. Now we see Waterfire coming in the pits. Oh, and he's not the only one. Zodiac has suddenly disconnected from the event. Something has gone wrong, and we have had our first dropout of the event. We're going to try and reach out to Zodiac and see what happened to him. See if he's willing to give a post-race interview. Shame to see somebody drop out like that, but that is our first DNF of the day, it would appear. And we are now down to just 4 drivers on the lead lap. Savage Speeder, Taysbot, and Dawson all are running 2nd, 3rd, 4th. They are pitting a lot more often than Shredder, but Shredder is, for the moment, dealing with a track position disadvantage to that trio. Now we're down to just 10 drivers on the lead lap. But again, once Shredder pits, we're going to see drivers like Dubs get back to only being 1 lap down here. Ghost Reaper and Boss Racer Pro, this duo are both a lap down. Ghost Reaper is one of the drivers who have been committing to a harder tire compound, hoping that by cutting out a pit stop as this race goes on, he can end up in a better position. Although I imagine he wouldn't complain if a yellow flag came out right now. A little bit less than 100 laps to go here at Homestead, Miami. So even if we stay green to the end, we still have about 50 minutes, 50 minutes, about 50 minutes before we know how this race is going to end. There's still a lot of time for things to change. Interestingly enough, despite not really having drafting help, Savage Speeder is maintaining a gap of about 3 to 4 seconds to this duo of Dawson and Taze. So while these two are doing a great job doing drafting shenanigans with each other, Savage Speeder is not really letting them pull away. The only real change is that Shredder loses significant ground to them every time we're in a position where we are right now, where these two are out on track on fresher rubber and Shredder is on the older rubber. But again, Shredder is trying to play out a longer game here and hoping that if we have a long enough green flag run, he can catch a big chunk of the field more than 1 lap down. So when the inevitable late race yellow happens, he does not have to worry about losing as many spots on a restart. Shredder's biggest weakness thus far this season has been restarts. Although the restart we did have earlier was relatively strong, typically Shredder ends up hemorrhaging positions on restarts. He is actively incentivized to try and put as many people, as many laps down as possible early in the event. Dawson and Taze now close to within 24 seconds of SRD Shredder, but I look at Shredder's tire life, and look at how quickly he's burning up the tires. He is still not yet at 60%. He's at like 59%, and he's shown a lot of willingness to go deeper than 60%. He's willing to go 62, 63% before he goes and pits. Now, when he does make this next stop, I imagine he's going to end up about 12 or so seconds behind Dawson and Taze, but he is going to have a gigantic tire advantage over this duo here. Already, Dawson is not yet at 20% tire life. Same would apply to Taze, as the two of them actually pitted on the same time, this most recent circuit. Other interesting thing to remember is that Dawson and Taze are keeping their fuel tanks nice and heavy right now, so they are keeping a lot of weight in their car. This means that they are hiding a little bit more of their potential speed. The extra weight in the car is going to cause them to go through the corners a little bit slower and accelerate a little bit slower, but it also means that they're going to be potentially saving a bit of time during pit stops later in the event, because they won't have to fill up to a whole full fuel tank every time. They can pit later and put less than their necessary amount in and short fill on a later stop. That is not the case with SRD Shredder and Savage Speeder. They have to basically go all the way in a fuel stop every time they make a pit. So this green flag run has gone for almost 90 laps right now. A look at SRD Shredder again, 66.5%. So if he is going about 30 laps on a set of tires and fuel, this could end up being significant. But look at this. Dawson and Taze are now within 23, 22 seconds of Shredder, and he is still not pitting. And right now, at this point of the race, this is where we see Dawson and Taze just tear into any gap that Shredder has. But again, Shredder is hoping that he can cut out a pit stop later in the event. If we have a long enough green flag run, and by cutting out a pit stop, he's hoping he can catch as many drivers a lap down as possible. He still has not pitted. He's at 70%. He's come across the line. I don't know why he's going this ridiculously far, unless he feels that he is in a no-win scenario. But I'm watching. He is hemorrhaging so much time to Dawson and Taze right now. There's no way this strategy is going to work. He's got to come into the pits this time. 90 laps to go. Yep, all right, so it looks like Shredder's going to be paying this time with 90 laps to go. So if Shredder is going for a pit stop once every 30 laps, he'll have to pit again with 60 laps to go. He'll have to pit again with 30 laps to go, and then he would not have to pit again. Everyone else has 3 more stops. Shredder, after he's done with this one, should only have 2 more stops. But the big thing is that Shredder has lost so much time trying to extend the life of these tires. I think this has put him well behind the 8 ball against Dawson and Taze. This time, he's not even out of pit road by the time that Dawson and Taze get by him. Now, to be fair, Dawson is already at 34%, so Dawson's already well past the halfway point on what he wants these tires to be at. But still, I don't see this working out for Shredder. I don't think the situation for him is as terrible as it was back at Indianapolis. Back at Indianapolis, Shredder put himself on an awful strategy and was on track to be last of the lead lap runners there before some late race yellows. But right now, I feel like Shredder's strategy could only get him a 3rd or 4th place position. He just does not have what it will take to pull off a top 2 result, I feel. Yes, Dawson and Taze are going to have to make an extra stop now, but Shredder is about a 1/3 of a lap behind this duo, and he is not running this duo down at the pace that he needs to, because Dawson and Taze can do drafting shenanigans, and Shredder does not have anyone to tandem with. Has Visible Rocket running in 8th position right now, hoping to stay on the lead lap, but he is on some worn tires, although his tires are about as worn as the 2 drivers going by him here, and he will go a lap down. So at this stage of the race, 10 drivers are either on the lead lap or 1 lap down right now. A yellow flag wouldn't really shake things up too much here. Does look like Taze has a little bit of trouble trying to get by there. But yeah, this does feel like this is going to be the chance for Dawson and Taze to really open up their gap in the championship here. Savage is gradually losing time to this duo, but again, for running solo with no drafting help, Savage has shown some immense ability today. Double Zero gives that 96 another shove through turn 4 and down the straight once more. About 85 laps left here at Homestead. So we are now in the final 1/3 of this race, as we are in a green flag run that has gone over 100, well, almost 100 laps. And Dawson gives Taze a little bit of a shove and shoves Taze out of the way, so Dawson go back to the lead here. Also, real quickly, I want to talk about PRG Black, who is running a harder tire compound strategy. He is running 5th position right now, but his tire wears at 51%, so he'll have to pit momentarily. He's not really in a fantastic spot right now. Then you have Ghost Reaper, who's just a little bit farther back, also running on a harder tire compound strategy. He can stay out for probably another 7-8 laps before making a stop as well, but again, Black and Ghost Reaper both over half a lap down. Well, about half a lap to a little bit more than half a lap down to the leaders right now. So Dawson has broken up the draft between himself and Taze, although he is about to catch some traffic in the form of Boss Racer Pro. Boss, another driver who is committing to the harder tire strategy, hoping that by minimizing pit stops, he'll get some good track position here. He's holding up that 96 quite a bit, really aggressively defending the inside line through turns 1 and 2. But now we see Dawson gets to his inside as they go into turns 3 and 4. And trapped on the outside like that, there's just nothing you can really do. Is he going to give the 0-0 of Taze any problem? He will not. In fact, that actually ended up working out basically perfectly for Taze because now Taze has caught Dawson once again. And now Dawson goes wide, and Taze is going to go by. In fact, now we see the 67 is going to move back by the 96 there. So Dawson bungled turns 1 and 2, but look at this tire life. He is at 53% on his tires right now. Now he has to fight his way back by Boss Racer Pro, as now it's TazeBot who gets to open up the gap a bit on Dawson. Not quite as much as what it was earlier, but he is opening the gap. This also has brought Savage Speeder back within 4 seconds of our leaders now. Shredder isn't really closing on the top 2, though. I think Shredder has given up on the pace, and I think he's just trying to nurse his tires to make sure he can go to the end on only 2 more stops. He is betting that everyone else will either have to go on 3 more stops, or if they do 2 more stops, one of those stops will be a stint on the medium tires, and he's hoping he can run them down on that kind of tire differential late in the running here. But yeah, Dawson has now fallen almost 7/10 out from Taze. If he loses the draft on Taze, that could be problematic because all of a sudden Taze and Dawson will stop being able to absolutely pull away from Shredder off the back of drafting shenanigans. 58.3% on that tire wear for Dawson on that right front. Look at Taze, who is just ahead of him, the leader right now, 58.3%. Savage Speeder is about 4.25 seconds behind him. He is at 57%, so he's doing a little bit better saving the tires. Then you have Shredder, who is on this wildly alternate strat, only at 24.5%. But again, Shredder has lost so much ground by just staying out longer on these older, harder tires, and it's putting him farther and farther behind the 8 ball. Savage Speeder pitting a little bit earlier than our top 2. So I have a feeling that Taze and Dawson are now seeing how deep Shredder is running in these races, and they're actively staying out longer to try and counter that. But Savage Speeder says, screw that, I'd rather have pace. He is still pitting at roughly the same rate that he has been. Ghost Reaper is pitting, PRD Black is pitting as well, so in a moment, we're only going to have 3 drivers on the lead lap here. It looks like Lear Art has now lagged out, and here comes TazeBot and Dawson. Taze and Dawson now come into the pit lane. We're going to try and reach out to Lear Art here and see if he wants to give us a post-race interview. Don't know if he'll jump in, but it's always worth a try. But yeah, now it is SRD Shredder who re-inherits the lead as he is running a very radically alternate strategy as he's able to go about 3 to 4 laps farther on the tires. But is that going to be enough? Is that going to give him an overall positive delta? If this race goes green to the end, I think that is Shredder's best strategy, best hope. But if a yellow flag comes at inopportune time, he'll be in trouble. All right, coming into the party right now is Lear Art. Lear Art, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
In the Xbox party, are you able to include your audio?
I already have it.
All right.
Included.
All right, Lear Art, it's been a rough day, a long green flag run, and it seems like your race has been derailed with about 70 laps to go. What took you out of the race there?
Honestly, it started from lap 1, a drop of the green flag. I had engine damage from the start, so I had to pit early on from that. And then my tires wore out from that, so I had to make another pit stop naturally. And coming up from that second pit stop, I got a pit exit penalty for something about like an unsafe pit exit, so I had to take a pass through. That fucked me up even more. And then I got engine damage another point during the race, so that's another time I had to pit. So that put me like 3 to 4 laps down, and I was just super off pace. I don't even know how. I didn't have it in me tonight. I haven't had it in me recently, so I don't know. Hopefully I can bounce back better next week.
Yeah, frustrating time to say the least. I do want to ask real quickly, who do you think has the best shot of winning this race as this has been going on?
I would either say Taze or Dawson or Shredder. One of those 3 guaranteed, but my money's going on Taze. So.
All right, well, thanks for jumping in and talking with us, mates. It's always a shame to have to talk to someone like you middle of the race, but I guess it's better than nothing. Have a good night's sleep, mate.
Yep. See you next week.
All right. Well, it looks like that number 10 of SRD Shredder is out here doing some drafting shenanigans, or trying to do drafting shenanigans, with Link the Racer in 12th. Again, this was the duo that went to the fight at the checkered flag 2 weeks ago at Brands Hatch, but this time it is Link trying to stay only 2 laps down, and Shredder's trying to put him 3 laps down. But I think more likely Shredder is just trying to run in Link's draft and use the draft to try and artificially extend the life of his tires. Again, we cannot prove, but we think that Shredder is trying to make this race on only 2 more stops. Everyone else also should only have 2 more stops, but not, well, 2 or 3 more stops. But basically, Shredder is hoping he can go all stops all the way to the end on a little bit fewer stops than everyone else. So as we are under this long green flag run, we're going to go ahead and take a Twitch mandated ad break. We will be back momentarily here at Homestead Miami Speedway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Homestead Miami Speedway. A little less than 70 laps to go right now. Your leader is SRD Shredder. We believe he is going to be pitting in about 7 to 8 laps here. Then the lead will go back to the 2-car tandem of Taysbot and Dawson. It looks like it is going to be a fight between Taze and Dawson for this race win. Shredder may be trying to position himself to have some fantastic... There's been a spin! That is Adam, who is spinning down the back straightaway. So get out of the way. It doesn't look like anyone will hit him. There's no damage on Adam's car, but that is the second time we have seen Adam completely lose control of the car in a straight line. Now, it looks like he's trying to take the old infield road course cut to turns 3 and 4, so that way he doesn't end up causing too much issue for these other drivers as he's coming into the pits. But, yeah, no damage on Adam's car as far as we can tell. He's just burnt up those tires. 12 laps down, about 170 laps into the event. So, I said this to say, he has actually gotten better and has actually picked up his pace a little bit as the event has gone on. But still, 2 completely self-inflicted errors has really kind of been the showcase of his run. And reminder, we had 2 newcomers in this event. Adam, this is his first ever race. His son is Savage Speeder, running the top 4 right now. The other newcomer is this man here, Benzwing, 54.75. He is running the 14th place position. He is 4 laps down right now, just staying about a quarter of a lap ahead of Hockey, 24.87. So Benzwing is still in the middle of a very active fight on track, but these drivers from the back, they'd love to see a flurry of yellow flags late in the event to try and get them some shot at a better run than this. At the stage of the race, 9 drivers are running either on the lead lap or 1 lap down right now. SRD Shredder is your leader. Again, we anticipate he's going to be pitting in about 2 to 3 laps here. because we believe that SRD Shredder is trying to make this with a pit stop here, and then another pit stop around lap 204, 205, and that will be it. Everyone else, we don't know if they can make it on only 2 stops, or if they're going to commit to 3 stops, and if they are going to go on 2 stops, we anticipate that one of those remaining stints, they'll be putting on a harder compound tire as well. But Shredder has lost a significant amount of time. Not every time, but this most recent stint, not the one we're on now, but the most recent fuel and tire stint for Shredder, he's lost a huge chunk of time just trying to eke out extra laps. I'm not sure if this strategy is going to work out for Shredder just because of all that time he's been losing from that. He is potentially going to gain a lot of that time back by cutting out a late pit stop. But again, I don't know. And the other thing as well is that PPRL does not have a habit of ending races with long green flag runs on ovals. We typically see yellow flags in the last 20 laps or so, and if that happens, that would completely torpedo Shredder's strategy here. Although it's not a bad strategy to be on because he is trying to put as many drivers at least 2 laps down as possible. If you're 1 lap down, and I've said this several times, but it's so important to say, if you're 1 lap down, you get your lap back under a yellow flag. If you're 2 or more laps down, you will still be off of the lead lap. Now, obviously, if we have multiple late yellows back to back to back, that changes. But PPRL does not have a habit of a long green flag run to the end. All right, Shredder pitting now on lap 174. So if you look at his tire life at the end of 174, he's at 67.8. So he didn't push the tires nearly as far this time as he did prior. But still, 67 is much deeper than I imagined he'd want. And now we're going to see this duo of Taysbot and Dawson go back to the lead. Savage Speeder is still running in 4th. Will become 3rd momentarily. But he's now fallen to about 7 seconds out of this group. Again, if this duo gets into it, they start actively fighting between each other for this race win near the end. Obviously, things change. Tays and Dawson didn't have an awful time, but it was not a fantastic time for the duo at Brands Hatch. Tays came home 5th, maintaining his top 5 finishing streak, and then Dawson came home 6th. Reminder, Tays and Dawson were invited to the All-Star race before the season opened, and points, you got 10 points if you won the All-Star race, 9 for finishing 2nd, 8 for finishing 3rd, so on. Dawson finished 2nd in the All-Star race. Taysbot, I believe, was 5th in that All-Star race. That is the main reason why they are still leading the championship over SRD Shredder, because while their results across the season haven't been as high as Shredder has not yet finished outside the top 2 in an event, although I think it's likely we'll see him finishing 3rd today. Tays and Dawson had those extra points from the All-Star race, which was run here at Miami back at the end of 2025. %47 tire wear on Tays right now. Look at Dawson just behind him. He is at 50% exactly. So it does seem like Dawson is burning up his tires a little bit faster than Tays is as this is going on. So in a knockout fight between these two, Tays may have the advantage if we stay green to the checkered flag. Looks like we've had another disconnect in the form of Adam, potentially. We'll try to reach out to Adam, see if he wants to say anything with us post-event, but it's been a rough time for him. I can't really fault him for backing out just because of how rough it's been for him. So at this stage of the race, 5 drivers still on the lead lap. Ghost Reaper, one of our outside contender in the championship, trying to make this strat work where he stays on the harder compound tires to cut out 1, if not 2, pit stops over the course of the race. He is slower, but he is hoping to cut out pit stops here. Then you have PRG Black, who's on a similar strat, but not nearly as good in track position. You also have Boss Racer Pro, JDM Culture, Visible Rocket, and Waterfire, all each 1 lap down. Most of the drivers also running on harder tires, trying to cut out pit stops as the event goes on. Shredder is almost exactly half a lap right now behind the duo of Tays and Dawson. Again, he is not showing any signs of closing on this duo with any speed. How long is this duo going to stay out? 55.7% tire wear for Taze right now. Look at Dawson, who runs in second just behind. He's at 58%. Oh, Taze into the wall! They make contact, and both of them slow each other down just a little bit as they go down the back straightaway that time. Wasn't the worst thing ever. They're not going to bleed off too much time, but that kind of shenanigans are not going to help. And now it looks like Dawson looking at the inside. Dawson puts the bumper to Taze on the left rear quarter panel as they go down turn 4, but they fall back to single file as they go down the straightaway. Ghost Reaper now goes ahead and pits with about 52 laps left in the event. And Dawson's into the outside wall in turn 2 that time. He's at 60% tire life right now, and now he is hemorrhaging time to Taze. Shredder is now back within 50. He's less than 15 seconds out of this duo now. How far is Taze and Dawson going to push their tires? If you want to go soft medium to the end, if the softs can go about 27 laps, then the mediums could probably go about 40, 41 laps. You do the math, that'd be about 67 to go. If they pitted now, threw on softs, and then pitted again later, throw on some mediums, they would be fine. But what is their strategy? Are they going to try and make out 2 more softs and swap out something for mediums? Oh, here comes Taze and Dawson, both coming in the pits. It looks like Dawson, much more aggressive coming in the pit lane than Taze is. And Savage Speeder is going to join them in the pits as well. So this will briefly put PRG Black back onto the lead lap. Something's happened to Savage Speeder. He is now a lap down. He shouldn't be that far off pace. He is now a lap down. But yeah, Dawson's still on the lead lap. Taze is still on the lead lap as well. Shredder still flying around here in a bit of a pack of cars right now. And the gap between Shredder and the duo of Taze and Dawson is about 14 seconds, although it's still growing. We won't really know what the gap is until they get around here. Look at Shredder. Look at his tire life. He is only at 23%. He wants to try and get to about lap 204 for his final stop. Taze and Dawson have a pretty significant gap between them. But yeah, now somehow Savage has actually gone a lap down. So now, for the moment at least, we have 4 drivers on the lead lap, and Savage Speeder is not one of them. We only have 9 drivers who are either on the lead lap or 1 lap down right now. This is Waterfire, who is now being overhauled here by Taze, who is on the lead lap, and then he'll be caught by Savage Speeder shortly after. Again, Savage and Water do not like each other, and that is the series host, Dawson, right behind, watching the two, making sure nothing doesn't happen. Doesn't look like it will be a big problematic issue that time, though. I will say, good job to Waterfire for all the bad PR he's basically accrued for himself over both this season and the prior season. He is maintaining a respectable run, and if this race goes green to the end, and nothing else crazy happens, I think it's very likely we'll see Waterfire pull off not just a top 10, but maybe even a top 6 result, depending on how the rest of this race goes. I look at SRD Shredder right now. He is running behind JDM Culture. Now, I don't know if he's going to really put an effort to try and get by JDM Culture here, to try and catch him 2 laps down or not. But he seems to be content to run behind him right now, trying to let the draft get him some extra lap time here. It's going to be a while until Shredder makes his next stop. But I look at Black, who's right in the 4th spot right now. Now that Savage Speeder seems to have had something go wrong, Black may be in a position where he might be able to snipe a top 5 result today, even though while he's on a decent strategy and he's had good pace, he kind of played himself bad in the track position game after the 1 yellow he have had thus far in the event. So we'll keep an eye on him, but we're coming up. It's about 54 laps to go right now for PRG Black. If he pits now, runs 27 laps on the soft tires, then pits again, he'd be good to the end. Wouldn't really have to worry about too much tire fall off. So Black could start pitting now and really start opening up his pace, putting on softs to the end here. That might help him a bit. as Gen 3, who is coming down into the pit lane now. But it is still the duo of Dawson and Taysbot, ranked second and third. These are the duo that I think have the best shot at winning this race. We're going to take a Twitchman Day of Dad break. We'll be back momentarily here at Homestead Miami Speedway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your Homestead Miami Speedway. Savage Speed has really opened it up the pace a bit here, as Taze and Dawson have kind of dropped off a bit in pace. I have to wonder, have they put on a harder set of tires potentially? Or are they just trying to hold back a bit to save tire life, to try and put themselves in a better position to run down SRD Shredder on the sprint to the end here? Again, this duo is about half a lap behind Shredder, but they are paying on radically different times. Shredder trying to get to lap 204 for his final stop. He's been running a lot of time in traffic, just trying to draft off of lapped cars, try and extend his tire life just a little bit here. And he is legitimately pulling on Taze and Dawson just a little bit right now. PRG Black now pitting with about a little less than 40 laps to go. So for Black, if he puts on a set of medium tires now, it wouldn't be perfect, but he could probably make a set of mediums last to the end. He would not have to pit again for the rest of the day. Again, I think Black is aiming for a potential top 5 result here. But your fight for the win is going to be between this trio. Oh, we are under caution. Yes, we are. We have a caution. Like I said, these events, PPRL races, typically do not have long green flag runs to the end. And once again, this is the case, as we are under the yellow flag here at Homestead Miami Speedway. And the frustrating thing for SRD Shredder is that this is not looking good for him, because he wanted to pit on lap 204. This is lap 198 now. I don't know how long it's going to take for the field to gather up, but it's going to be a lot longer than 30 laps between now and the checkered flag. Shredder is not looking like he's going to be in anything close to a good position. Everyone else is likely going to throw on some medium tires to the end. Shredder is not likely going to be fast enough to make anything work. He is basically caught in the frustrating in-between zone once more. The other thing to consider, while only 3 drivers are on the lead lap, Ghost Reaper, Black, Waterfire, Savage Speeder, and JDM Culture are all going to get a lap back under this yellow flag here. So we are going to have 8 drivers on the lead lap. If we start having more yellows, we're going to have a lot more drivers ending up on the lead lap here. The big thing for Black, he put on medium tire. If he put on medium tires when he made his pits before that yellow came out. Oh, Shredder's not pitting. SRD Shredder is not pitting. So SRD Shredder is electing to not pit here. With tires are at 52% wear. We're likely going to go green on about lap 201. Maybe Shredder is going to pit at the end of this lap. Starting at 200, just so he has a little bit extra life in his tires, but still, he'd be asking 33, 34 laps out of the rubber. I don't see him being able to pull that off. I don't think anyone really has the ability to pull that off. Gonna take a little bit to get the field ordered up here, as now all of our lapped cars are going ahead and making their stops as well now. We got under our second yellow flag of the day, but a green flag run that lasted about 140 laps. This is going to be a very long yellow flag here, I imagine. We have a stopped car, a bunch of stopped cars. Our lead group hasn't stopped. It looks like all the stopped drivers are moving now. So they're getting everything ordered up. But this has actually trapped most of those drivers back a lap down again. So it looks like everyone who pitted are now back to being a lap down behind Shredder. So it is only because Shredder did not pit, all those drivers who got a lap back, they now have to cycle back behind SRD Shredder. So, we are still down to having only 3 drivers on the lead lap. Shredder, Dawson, and Taze, your 3 championship contenders. Reminder, between those 3, there is only 1 point between them. Taze and Dawson were tied at the top of the point standings coming into today's event, and Shredder was 1 point behind them coming into today's event. Shredder paying this time. Yes, Shredder is paying now on lap 200 coming to 201. And he's going to be joined by both Dawson and Taze. And now all those drivers get their lap back this time. It's not 30 laps, but 33 laps is a lot easier to make happen than 35 laps. So Shredder's trying to make sour grapes into wine here. Don't know how well this is going to work. Now it looks like now a lot of these drivers who are a lap down are going to be trying to jump back into the pits to put some fresher tires on as well. So a lot of people are now feeling the pressure of, hey, we're not going to be able to go to the end here. Here's an interesting thing. After making another stop to put on fresh tires again, Taze has actually ended up ahead of Shredder. But the big question is, while Shredder may not be able to make it 34 laps, Taze and Dawson have not shown any ability to make it 34 laps on a set of soft tires. Now, if they put on medium tires, they'll make it. They'll be slow, but they'll suddenly close back in aggressively in the last 5 laps or so. Now, it looks like this will put 8 drivers on the lead lap now. All of them will be on fresh rubber. But the question, of course, is going to be, how long are we actually going to stay on track under green flag circumstances? Are we going to have a 32-lap run to the end? Or are we going to have another yellow flag, another accident that will further shake up the field? Because if we have another yellow flag, then you have a legitimate question about track position versus tires. Because all these drivers here that are staying out, they could get track position, but they would have more worn tires. Their tires wouldn't be awful because they'd be able to save some tire life under the yellow. Looks like Savage Speeder has gone ahead and pit again under this as well. So Savage is paying a lap later because he's going to try and eke out any extra lap, any extra tire life he possibly can. Shredder's at 1.4 tire wear already. Tazebot is at 1 flat. And here's the other thing. Again, if any of these people who are on the lead lap now, if they were put on medium tires, or in the case of PRG Black, who pitted just before the yellow came out, he shouldn't have to worry about putting new tires on. If they're on mediums, they will not have to worry about pitting again. They'll be fine, and all these drivers who are on the soft tires, they're going to be hurting in the last 4 or 5 laps. Drivers on the mediums may be able to make something happen here. You're still not bunched up to go green. And Shredder's pitting again now. Well, now Shredder could probably make it. And Dubs has dropped out now. And now the field is doubling up. As we have lost another driver, we'll try to reach out to Dubs, see what's happened from his perspective that's taken him out here. So where is this going to put Shredder? Is he going to be dropped back to 8th, or is he going to be able to retake a position in 3rd? Well, either way, now I think there's no question Shredder will make it to the end on tires. Everyone else, I wouldn't be so sure about. Shredder's not going to be in a fantastic position on tires, but I think he has a significant advantage. All right, so it's going to be Tazebot and Dawson. The two of them will likely try to do some tandem drafting shenanigans right away here to make something happen so they can pull away from SRD Shredder. Out of the final corner, we should be going green. This time by will be 31 laps to the checkered flag here at Homestead, Miami. And we're off once again. Taze leads. He comes down in front of Dawson. Dawson's actually gone high. It wasn't Dawson, it was Black. Shredder is already fallen back to 5th. Now we see Dawson going to the inside. He's going to try and make it 3 wide with Ghost Reaper and PRG Black. Ghost Reaper is back where he needs to be to try and keep himself in championship contention. Shredder is trapped on the extreme outside, 3 wide. Ghost Reaper out into the outside wall. They are briefly 4 wide as they all blitz by him. And now Ghost goes from the lead to falling out of the top 10. And Dawson's trying to keep... That was Link, I believe, behind him. Yeah, that's Link, who's in that number 7 machine. He's a lap down, but he might be in a position to find his way back onto the lead lap. He is absolutely booking it right now. Dawson and Taze side by side as they go through the corner, but Dawson has the ideal inside line of choice, and Shredder, per usual, has hemorrhaged a bunch of time on one of these restarts. Dawson trying to block Link, but Link has a run. Link wants to race his way back onto the lead lap, side by side, and that would put Link back onto the lead lap as he muscles his way ahead of Dawson. Now Dawson has Taze behind him. This is a legitimate fight for the lead, and now Shredder is back there in 3rd already. Shredder in 3rd position, our top 3 of the championship, are 1, 2, 3 on track once again. But it is the barely on the lead lap car of Link Racer leading the field around right now. 15 of our 19 drivers still running. The 7 takes to the inside line. Dawson rip rides it around the outside. He'll clear the lap car of Link. Now Taze will go around. He'll clear lap car. Shredder is going to lose a position now to Savage Speeder. This yellow flag was perfect for Savage. He's now back into the fray of this race. He comes to the inside of Tazebot now. Couldn't make it stick. Now he's stuck side by side there with the lap traffic. Everything's going perfectly for Dawson now. He is starting to open a bit of a gap on Taze, and SRD Shredder has fallen back to 5th position again. The question, of course, is going to be tire life. Are Dawson and Taze going to be able to open up enough of a gap on Shredder that he won't be able to run them down with his slightly better tires? Shredder is now back in front of Savage Speeder here. So Shredder gets back into the 3rd spot again, but there's still Link the Racer, lapped car. So Shredder has to deal with an entire extra car basically before he can even do anything to the top 2. He runs right behind Link at the moment. Dawson leads. Taze hangs out about a quarter of a second behind him. Then you have this lap car, and then you have Shredder. 2nd and 3rd, along with this lap car of Link, all running basically nose to tail right now. This could be perfect for Dawson because now he is starting to open the gap. He is starting to pull away a bit from Taze, but tire life is so important. We look at the tires where he is at 16.7% on that right front. I look at Taze right now, who's stuck side by side with traffic. He's at 11.7. He may be on a harder tire compound. Here comes Ghost Reaper. He's got to the inside of Shredder, and now Savage Speeder is going to get by him. This is Shredder. I look at Shredder. He's already at 15.7%. I think Dawson is on soft tires trying to outrun the field. I think Taze is on medium tires, and then everyone else here is on softs. The problem is this group of 5 cannot get away from each other, and Dawson is vanishing into the distance. He's almost a full second ahead. Oh, there's contact. Shredder into the outside wall. He's going to hemorrhage a huge chunk of time in the process. And now Shredder falls out of the top 5, and that will likely put an end to his championship run. Shredder's championship now derailed, and Dawson now becomes the favorite for not just this race win, but favorite for the championship, as he now has a 1.3 second gap on Taysbot. Taze is just trying to let Link tow him around. Taze wants to see Dawson burn up his tires and see Dawson suddenly hemorrhage a huge chunk of time later on. Shredder has now fallen more than 4 seconds out of the lead. His race chances and his championship chances are likely completely over with that. And it's also not really helped Ghost Reaper either. Ghost Reaper has fallen back to the 6th spot. It is now Savage Speeder in position for a back-to-back 3rd place result here, although he'll have to keep JDM Culture behind him in order to make that happen. PRG Black and Ghost Reaper having a little bit of action here right now as they're also dealing with traffic. Ghost held up behind some traffic there, trying to get his way by that number 77 machine. Taze now nearly 2 seconds out from Dawson. But what is Dawson's tire life looking like? Does he have the ability to make the soft slash sitting? He's at 26.5% right now with 20 laps left. Tazebot's now been caught by Savage Speeder. Savage, another driver who I believe is on softer tire compounds. Yeah. Savage on the softer tires, trying to make something happen. Reminder, back at Brands Hatch, Taze did the same thing. He'd gone to a harder tire compound, hoping that the race would come to him at the very end. That did not work out for him at all. I don't know if it's going to work out for him this time either. Savage Speeder now completes the overtake on Taze, so Savage cracks into the 2nd spot. Does Savage have anything for Dawson? The big wild card is, of course, Link the Racer, because Link is a lapped car, but he's on soft tires like these other people here. He's not going to let these people by without a fight, it seems. So now it is Dawson versus Savage versus Taze. Those are our 3 drivers fighting for this win. There is an outside chance that it could be JDM Culture here as well, but he needs to get by Taze. If you can get by Taze, then the question is how many people can you get ahead of who are on the same tire as you and then maintain that position over them as the tires fall off. Because no one of the people who put on the soft tires are really looking like they're going to be in a good position when it comes to their tires falling off. But Dawson has such a massive track position advantage over Savage Speeder right now, it may not matter. As long as Dawson isn't running into the wall, he should be fine. Because now the gap between Dawson and Savage is over 3 seconds. I think Dawson has this race won. A little bit of contact as, again, this group of cars all catch that lap traffic of Link. They're trying to freight train him on the outside, but it's just not working the way they need it to. And now we see JDM Culture has gotten by Taze. Oh, what is going on there? That was Savage trying to block a lapped car. And that lapped car Link now gets back to the inside of Savage. Dawson's about to make it 4 seconds over the rest of the field. These guys cannot dispose of the lapped traffic. Now Shredder is back in this mix. But again, this entire group is now 4 seconds out from Dawson. Even if Dawson ends up with a massive amount of tire fall off, it's not going to matter. He's just too far ahead of the rest of the field now. JDM Culture is now the driver in 2nd. SRD Shredder now trying to go up into the 3rd spot. There are 3 wide there. Taze trapped on the extreme outside. He's now fallen out of the top 5 as Ghost Reaper's gotten by him again. Ghost on the extreme inside trying to make something happen there, and he's gotten back to 2nd. This pack just keeps fighting, and now they are all 5 seconds out from Dawson. Dawson is going to, as long as there's no late race yellow, Dawson has this race in the bag by default. Even if he burns his tires up, he is fine. He does not have to worry. He can back up the corners, salvage tire life, save tires. He'll be fine. The fight is for 2nd. Shredder has dragged himself back into 2nd place, trying to put his championship hopes back on life support. trying to get by Ghost Reaper, who's trying to do the same thing, but Taze is now falling out of the top position. Link has lagged out now. Oh, wait, that's Dawson! Dawson is slow. Are we under the yellow? We have a caution. With less than 15 laps to go, we are back under the yellow flag. And suddenly that big gap that Dawson had is irrelevant. We're going to take a Twitch mandated ad break. We'll be back momentarily here at Miami. All right, coming in the party right now is Link. Link, can you hear me? In the Xbox party, are you able to include your audio? All right. Link, interesting time out there. You spent a large portion of that later stage of the race fighting with lead lap cars and honestly holding your own, but you've been disconnected with less than 20 laps to go. What took you out of the race?
They kicked me because for some reason they're blaming it on me, the fact that JDM Culture was dive bombing and pushing me into the wall. So, I mean, I'm gonna put this in the chat that none of that was even my fault. I was trying to race clean, but people were getting mad because I was up there, even holding my own and beating them at one point. But I don't know.
From my perspective, at least, it looked like you weren't doing anything particularly egregious. It looked like everything was clean and by the book from my end. So
that's what I thought too. But
yeah.
Yep.
But I will also say that I have tried to understand how the rules and calls are made in this series, and I do not understand how the rules and calls are made in this series. So while it may look good and clean to me, you may be legitimately violating something that I'm not aware of. So in either case,
I'm not sure what I did either. So.
In either case, thanks for jumping in and talking with us. It's a shame to see you dropped out like this. I do want to ask, before we let you go, who do you think is likely to win this race?
Probably Dawson. He got like a 30-second lead after that caution.
All right.
So I think it's probably going to be Dawson.
All right. Well, that's the word from Link. Link, thanks for showing up and doing what you can. It was fun watching you while we could.
Yep, thank you.
All right, and the entire field is currently under red flag right now as they're trying to get everyone bundled up here and gathered up. We are now going to have 10 drivers on the lead lap after this is all said and done and over with here. So 10 drivers now on the lead lap. Like I said earlier, the big problem with PPRL is that you get these long green flag runs, big strategy games, but there's always these yellow flags that come late, and all the strategies mean absolutely nothing. It does not matter if you have the best car. It really just matters if you're able to make the final restarts work well enough. And now it looks like we're starting to roll. I imagine we're going to go green right away, so they're going to be dealing with some cold tires coming to this green flag. Some of the drivers near the back of the grid still have yet to get moving. I don't know why they aren't moving back there. Seems to be some sort of issue, and now they are moving. Okay, we'll be going green this time then, because the entire field will be gathered up. So coming to the green flag, SRD Shredder got the track position coming out of pit lane this time. Dawson will be on his outside. Then it will be Ghost Reaper and Savage Speeder, and then JDM Culture and Tazebot. This is great news for Taze because he's now able to get back on the soft tires, try to make some ground back up on the grid here. 14 drivers still on track, 10 of them in it for the fight to win. Green flag once again here at Homestead, Miami. Dawson did not get a very good run there. It is Shredder and Ghost Reaper who clear him going to turns 1 and 2. Dawson now side by side with JDM Culture there. 26 and the 96 neck and neck, and now they're trying to make something happen. Here comes Ghost Reaper. He wants to do something to SRD Shredder. Can he get alongside him into the corner? No. Shredder shuts the door on him. Ghost Reaper in second, and now JDM Culture still fighting there. They are 3 wide. Here comes Savage Speeder, and PRG Black is nearly all over the place there. Top 2 of Shredder and Ghost Reaper trying to open up a bit of a gap on the rest of the field now. JDM Culture holding on to third, but now PRG Black is going to get to his inside, pulls up right behind, nose to tail, third, fourth, fifth. Taysbot's now up into the 6th position. Dawson has fallen all the way back to 9th on this restart. This restart did not go well for him at all. Tays washes a little bit wide, farther back there. JDM Culture continues to hold on to third. Now Savage Speeder pulls up alongside PRG Black. Contact between the number 9 and the number 8 machine. The 8 will have the draft off of JDM Culture. Black hits the outside wall. He'll come back down across the track. He's going to fall back to 5th position. Might even lose that now to Taysbot. Meanwhile, at the front, Ghost Reaper has just gotten by SRD Shredder at the head of the field. Ghost Reaper goes to the front. Shredder trying to hold the outside line side by side between Ghost Reaper and Shredder at the lead. JDM Culture is right about 9/10 of a second back, trying to hold on to a podium position. The two Jumbo Casino cars are into an accident. There's a multi-car accident. Taysbot's involved. The 9 of PRG Black is involved. Savage Speeder may have been involved in that as well. Waterfire had an accident as well. Is that going to be a yellow flag? It sounds like we might still be green for the moment. Ghost Reaper and SRD Shredder still neck and neck as they go down the straightaway. We have less than 10 laps to go. Shredder on the outside, Ghost Reaper on the inside. And now the yellow comes out for that multi-car accident as the Chumba Casino cars got way too aggressive there and it caused a massive multi-car stack up there in the middle of the field. And that big gap that Shredder and Ghost Reaper opened up now completely worthless. Suddenly JDM Culture is going to look like he'll restart third. Dawson will likely be restarting fourth. At this point, if we're going to be restarting with about 6 laps to go, I don't think softer, fresher tires are really going to give you any massive advantage. Basically, smoke what you have. Several lapped cars are going to be allowed to get back on the lead lap as we are under the red flag once again here at Homestead Miami Speedway. So under our 4th yellow flag of the race now, and our 2nd red flag of the race, like a typical PPRL event. Strategy and pace means nothing. It just comes down to being lucky on these late race yellows. Should be going green momentarily here because it's not going to take too long for that is 10th place Savage Spear, who was involved in that accident, to get repaired. If having softer tires ends up working out, Savage is going to be in a fantastic spot because he's going to have some of the softest tires of the entire field, but he's going to be back here in 10th, and the difference in tire life is not going to be that massive. So it's going to be Ghost Reaper and SRD Shredder coming to the green flag here. It looks like Ghost Reaper is choosing to restart on the outside. SRD Shredder is going to be restarting on the inside. 11% wear on the tires for the drivers up front. Again, Savage is going to have a slight tire advantage, but I don't think it's going to be enough to let him fly from 10th to 1st or anything like that. Not unless it gets absolutely wacky here at the front. 10 drivers still on the lead lap. 14 drivers still on track as we're coming down to the green flag. It will be 7 laps to go. Green flag here at Homestead Miami once again. And this time, Shredder had a much better start than last time. He has left the entire field behind. No one has kept up with him. Ghost Reaper basically was caught sleeping at the wheel. JDM Culture runs right behind. Shredder is going to try and defend the inside there. Does not want to give those drivers a draft if he can help it. Now come back up, block them just before they get into the corner. Well, all that big gap that Shredder had is kind of worthless now. They've all caught him via the draft. It is Shredder, Ghost Reaper, JDM Culture, Boss Racer, Dawson, Black, Taze, Visible Rocket, Waterfire, and Savage Speeder. Nose to tail for a top 3. Shredder, Reaper, and JDM Culture. For Ghost Reaper, if he can win this race, that would be one of the things that would keep his championship hopes alive. He gives Shredder a big shove down the back straightaway this time by. Boss Racer, in one of the Chumba Casino car that wasn't involved in that big accident, is running in 4th position, trying to keep Dawson behind right now. Now Ghost Reaper looking at the inside of SRD Shredder. He's not going to be the only one. Here comes JDM Culture. JDM to the extreme inside line. He's through. And Boss Racer Pro goes by SRD Shredder as well. So does Dawson. Something's gone wrong to Shredder. He's gone from 1st to 5th in just half a lap. And now it's Ghost Reaper and Dawson and JDM Culture. Boss Racer Pro on the inside. Dawson's trying to make something work in the middle lane. He gets touched. The 67 gets touched. Here comes Taze. They're 4 wide as they come out of the corner. Ghost Reaper doesn't know which way to block. Dawson on the extreme outside. There's 3 wide for a second position. Taze on the inside is going to move up to second. And now Shredder gets back up into the third. PRG Black comes up. He's side by side with the 67. Dawson starting to slip down through the grid again. Ghost Reaper leads. Taze bot in second. SRD Shredder in third. When they come to the line, it will be 3 laps to go here at Homestead, Miami. Just 4.5 miles left. Taze trying to run the draft of Ghost Reaper. SRD Shredder runs just behind them all. Everyone's on basically even tires. It's all going to come down to what do you have in the cars. 3 laps to go. Taze running a slightly higher line. That's enough for Shredder to pull up alongside. The 00 of Taze goes wide. It lets the 10 of Shredder get alongside, and he's passed. Shredder goes up into the second position. 2.5 laps to go. Shredder looks to the outside as they go now through turns 3 and 4. That's going to let the 00 get a shot back at him. Taze will get the position back over Shredder as they come out of turn number 4. Taze pulls up right behind Ghost Reaper. 2 laps left here at Homestead, Miami. Is there anything that Taze has on Ghost Reaper? Dawson is recovered up to the 4th position. Shredder goes back to the inside of Taze. Taze falls to 3rd once again. Your top 4 in the championship are the top 4 drivers on track once more. Shredder gives a big push to Ghost Reaper. Once again, Shredder looks to the outside line, but now he'll fall back in line behind Ghost Reaper. Just about nose to tail, and now Shredder gets to the inside. Side by side for a lead as they come out of turn number 4. Side by side as they come across the start-finish line. The leader at the line was Shredder. The number 10 to the inside. The 27 to the outside. Still neck and neck. Here comes Taze by the 00. He's got a fantastic run. He makes contact with Ghost Reaper, but Taze has a gigantic run on SRD Shredder. Can Shredder block Taze? Last set of corners. Shredder inside. Taze is going to get to the inside of the 10. Side by side between the 10 and the 00. There's Dawson. Taze is right there on the inside of Shredder. Drag race down the line to the checkered flag. Who's it going to be? I cannot tell who it was. It was a dead heat because Dawson got there as well. It was a 3-wide finish between our top 3 drivers in the championship, and I do not know who got it. It was a dead heat at the line. No clue who won that one. That will have to go and be reviewed post-event. I think that victory may have gone to Taze, but that could have gone to Taze, Shredder, or Dawson. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a Twitch-mandated ad break, and when we come back, we'll try to get some post-race interviews here with some of our top finishers and hopefully get some results on who actually won that race.
Hello?
Hello.
So,
It did not give me the notification that you joined the party, Ghost. I apologize.
all good.
In the Xbox party, do you
I got it
see
already.
a box? All right, awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Homestead Miami Speedway. We are still trying to figure out who won out of our top 3, but we do know who came home fourth. Ghost Reaper. The good news is fourth place finish is fantastic. The bad news is the 3 guys you're chasing for the championship all finished ahead of you. Is there anything different you feel like you could have done out there?
I mean, I maybe could have tried to block the bottom a little bit better at the 234 or 233, but I mean, not a whole lot I could do from where I was at on that last corner. You know, they're 3 wide in front of me, and then the big checkup, and the only place I could go was in the back of Shredder. Unfortunately, if I could have picked, I would have rammed Hayes to try and get him that push a little bit further out to verify his victory. But right now it's looking like it might be Shredder. They're still reviewing it to double check everything because all the different point of views. It's really, really close. Some people are in front on other people's screens and vice versa. So, I mean, not a whole lot I could do. I think I had a pretty fast car today. I don't know. I don't know. Not a whole lot I could have done at the end, I don't think. But I definitely had a race winning car.
All right, well, we're now basically past the halfway point of the season. Mathematically, you're still in the championship hunt. Is there anything you think you can do to actually close down the championship fight between you and the trio of Shredder, Dawson, and Taze?
If anything, I'll have to at least win 2 more races to get anywhere near as close as I want to be. But if all else fails, I'll just push my teammate Taze to the championship victory if possible.
All right, fair enough. Thanks for jumping in and talking with us, mate. Fourth place finish is nothing to sneeze at considering how absolutely messy that entire race was out there.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of coming back from being a lap or 2 down and getting back up in the top 5.
Yep. All right, well, that's the word from Ghost Reaper. In the party right now, we have 2 of our other top finishers, SRD Shredder and TazeBot, and it looks like Dawson is joining as well. All 3 of you, go ahead and include your audio. The big question on everyone's mind, of course, is who won. But before that, I do want to ask, if not for that late race spat of yellows, out of the 3 of you, who do you think would have won? Because Shredder had a better pit strategy, but Dawson and Taze, you 2 were much, much faster, it looked like. Who do you think would have won if it came down to the 3 of you on the long green run to the end? Can you guys hear me?
Hey, we'll go.
Yeah, exactly. So, can you repeat the question? Sorry, I was looking at the clip.
If we did not have those late race yellows, if it was green all the way to the end, Taze and Dawson, you 2 were faster, but Shredder had a better pit stop strategy. Who do you think was going to win between the 3 of you?
I don't know. I mean, it would definitely have been pretty close. I think Shredder in the end maybe would have had it, depending on what. I mean, there's different outcomes. Like there's multiple outcomes that could have happened. I mean, Shredder could have not. I mean, he could have got a draft the whole time and just went away from us. Me and Dawson could have wrecked. It's all. There's no really. You can't debate on who was going to win that race. It was kind of all over the place. I mean, it's PPRL. We get a caution 20 laps before the race ends anyway, so there's no point of even trying to go for a pit strategy. It's every race.
Yeah, that is kind of the sad truth within PPRL. Seems like just constantly these late race yellows after fantastic strategy battles all throughout. Well, finish obviously is still under review. Taze, I'll start with you since you seem to be the most talkative. Out of the 3 of you, who do you think won in that crazy 3-wide finish?
From my clip, I can see that I won. From my point of view, from Shredder's point of view, I'm not gonna diss on Shredder. I mean, there's a good possibility that he won, but with Shredder's internet or whatever the heck he's got on his PC, it glitches him, so it could glitch him into the first place spot. I'm not saying it did. I'm not saying it did it. It was the closest finish I've ever had in any type of league race or race in general. So whoever gets it, I mean, that's just. I mean, it's a luck call at that point.
You think there's no chance that Dawson won it though?
No. Looking at the clip, no.
All right. Well, Taze, if you end up being classified as the winner, this will definitely put you back on top in the championship fight, a bit past the halfway point of the season. But Shredder and Dawson have been absolutely hounding you all season long. is there anything you feel that you can do to pull away from those two going to the championship finale over the next few weeks? Is there anything you can do to break away from them?
Rely on the Sunset Daytona win. You gotta rely. You have to. It's major. Glenn, I got a good feeling about Glenn. It all comes down if that caution comes out. But I got a feeling it's not, because I don't think we're gonna have as many people at the road course as we do at Sunset and Daytona. So it all depends on if you wreck at Daytona, wreck at Sunset. Even if we don't win, it's 1 point differences. So I'm fine with people winning in front of me as long as those two don't win. It keeps it more close and it keeps it more competitive.
All right, well, yeah, I'm going to be honest. I couldn't put it any better myself, mate. That was very second and to the point. Anything else you want to say, Taze?
Whoever, I'm going to be honest, I just got all 3 videos. All of our POVs say that Dawson's POV says he won, Taze Bot says I won, and Shredder says he's won. So I don't know what we're going to do here.
You may have to go back to the live stream broadcast, but I'm not even sure how good that's going to be because of the angle. I'm not saying it's going to be awful, but the angle that the live stream broadcast showed you guys coming across the line and the angle that all 3 of you are at, from my perspective, it looked like the 3 of you all hit the line at the exact same time. There was no way to tell from my perspective. But maybe you guys can get a better view recording from my end.
I put it as you want to do a car style type of thing. If we all can't decide and say we just all tied for first, we might as well just do like one of those cars things and just.
Oh God, no!
You
guys are not. Please tell me you're better than that. You guys are not. You guys have enough gimmicks as it is. You don't need that. All right, real quickly, I want to talk with one of our other drivers in this 3-wide finish. SRD Shredder. Shredder, go ahead. Make sure your audio's included. What do you have to say about the race prior to that crazy finish, Shredder?
I mean, it was identical to the Igor situation. I was going to win by multiple of double-digit seconds, as per Igor, and then I don't even know what brought out the caution. I just know it came out, and then exact repeats, get shuffled back to the pack, have to find my way through, and then come up to have like a side-by-side finish, and maybe win, maybe not, I don't know. And the things I'm looking at the moment, I've got my view. My view says that I'm on top of the scoring stand. Dawson's view says I stay ahead, I get ahead right at the line. And then Tater's view, he's just got himself way out in front as well. So I can't say at the moment. But yeah, the fall off at the end, I don't really know why everyone else is sort of doing 23 laps on the softs. The softs could easily go to 30 laps. So I don't know why everyone was pitting that early. So that really helped me. I pretty much I was a pit stop under everyone else that was pitting on the softs. So if it like went throughout, that would have been completely. I would have gained a lap on everyone. So any time that I would have lost extending would have been like it wouldn't matter anyway because it would have been a stop at everyone else.
But now I have to ask Shredder, at this point, this is the 3rd time this season where this has happened, where twice it's been you, but 3 times over the course of the year, we have seen somebody on a catastrophically dominant strategy, late race yellows, and you constantly seem to have these problems on restarts where you hemorrhage time and hemorrhage positions. Is there anything different you feel you can do to keep yourself from losing positions in these late race restarts?
I mean, when I tend to be in the restarts, then I tend to get out in front and I'll just get drafted around because that's how the draft works in this game. So, preferably, I'd rather be in second place at the restarts because I'm really good slingshotting around from the outside. So, yeah, if I'm to restart on the inside, I was also going to be a sitting duck. So I just try to defend as hard as I can.
All right, and now I have to ask, who do you think got the win? Do you think there's any chance that Dawson won, or do you think it's just between you and Taze?
I mean, on mine angle and Dawson's angle, scoreboard says I'm in the lead on both of them. And then on Taze's one, he's like a foot further out than what it shows on mine or Dawson's. So I can't really say. I just know there's more videos showing that I won than anyone else won. Is what I'm seeing at the moment myself.
All right. Well, we'll keep that in mind. thanks for jumping in and talking with the Shredder. And now, real quickly, want to see if Dawson is in a position that he can do interviews post-race. I know it's a little bit more difficult for Dawson because Dawson is pretty much top dog admin for the series. But Dawson, are you in a position to do post-stint interviews?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, go ahead and include your audio in the Xbox party if you can. The word seems to be that officially, Dawson, you are scored as third. But, man, that's probably the most nail-biting third-place finish I think you've probably ever got in your career. Is there anything different you think you could have done in that race to get you a better result?
Yeah, that was a wild finish. I've never seen a finish that close between three people like that at the line. Unreal. Going up that last final caution there, probably could have gotten a little bit closer. Didn't really get our chance to make a run on them for the lead until that final turn. Got kind of back into traffic a little bit. Was able to get up there with about 2 to go. Got a few car lengths behind them. But, yeah, just probably a little bit better on that last restart. But all in all, happy with the third-place finish.
All right, this is the second time, Dawson, we've seen a scenario where in one of these late race restarts, you get out to the front and you just destroy everyone. And then another yellow flag comes out and ruins it. This seems to be a repeated issue within PPRL. You have these long runs, you have long, interesting strategy battles, or someone, is just absolutely slapping the field with their genitalia, and then late race yellow comes and just eliminates it. Are there any plans to change the rules in PPRL to try and keep that from happening in the future?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something we're going to look at for sure. It seems like we're getting a lot of late race yellows every race. So we're going to do our best to try and hopefully finish under green. Obviously, a little bit longer stretch because the tire strategies never can play themselves out at the end, unfortunately. So we're going to look at evaluating that for the future.
All right, and then the championship fight. You were tied with Taze coming into the event, but doesn't matter what happens one way or another. You will lose the championship points lead coming out of today's event. Halfway through the season, is there anything you feel you can do against Shredder or Taze? Taze has not finished outside of the top 5 once this season. Shredder has not finished outside of the top 2 once this season. Is there anything you can do to try and beat those two for the championship?
Yeah, just stay consistent, got some super speedways coming up, anything can happen. That's anyone's game. We could all very well be involved in a wreck towards the end of the race. So, yeah, just try to stay out of trouble and just get a solid finish.
All right. I don't really have anything else to ask of you. It's just kind of like, okay, well, if you have anything else to say, feel free to say. But, yeah, I don't know what else to say. We're really all just kind of sitting with our metaphorical thumbs up our booty holes right now, just kind of waiting on the word on who the actual winner is between SRD Shredder and Tazebot. In either case, whether it is Shredder or Tazebot who wins, that would be our first repeat winner of the season. Our first 4 races had 4 distinctly different winners. This would be our first repeat winner of the season between Shredder and Tazebot. Also, it would be the 3rd victory of the season, I believe, for the Ford Mustang body, if I remember correctly. Yeah, because we've had 1 Camaro win from Link, that was back at Brands, and we've also had 1 win from the Camry, that was from Dawson earlier in the season back at Eagle Rock. So, yeah, this would be the 3rd different win for the Mustang as well. But we are still waiting for a bit. Again, we have multiple different video angles, 1 from Shredder, 1 from Taze, 1 from Dawson, and then also the broadcast. There may be other videos that we are not in a position to see that may have came from other drivers. If there was a viewpoint from Ghost Reaper, I imagine that would help as well. But yeah, more than likely, we are looking at a fight between Shredder and Taze. If Shredder wins this, I believe the gap between winning points and second points is, 2 points, isn't it? It's just 2 points between first and second? So yeah, if Shredder wins, that puts him into the lead in the championship. If Taze wins, obviously he goes in the lead in the championship because he was already tied. So yeah, and again, regardless of how that goes, Taze and Shredder are continuing their impressive run of ridiculously consistent high finishes. Taze has not finished out of the top 5 once this season. Shredder is on what would be his 5th straight top 2 result in this series. Again, we are still waiting on what the final word is right now. All right, feel free to use the Twitch stream if you need to, mate. All right. Now we're seeing people going ahead and backing out right now. Real quickly, I'm just going to go ahead and try to see if maybe anyone else wants to go ahead and do some sort of post-race interview while we are in a prolonged holding pattern, waiting right now to see what the final result is here. Yeah. Don't know how many people are doing private chats right now or anything like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the VC at the moment, so.
Yeah. We're just kind of in a prolonged holding pattern. Well, while we are still in this holding pattern, waiting for the final word on who actually won here at Homestead, Miami, we're going to take another Twitch-mandated ad break. Hopefully, we will get word on who the actual winner was in the next 2 to 3 minutes, but I don't know what it's looking like. There is at least 4 different viewpoints that we have to consider. We will be back momentarily here at Miami.
Now Savage says he can do an interview.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, we can wait. It was inside your end one of the race.
I couldn't tell. I could not tell. I was so busy looking at you guys, I wasn't looking at the ticker, and even if I look at the ticker, I don't trust the ticker at finishes that close.
Yeah, have you seen my screenshots? I'll send you.
Yeah, I've seen your screenshots. I've seen your screenshots. All right.
I guess if you're one.
Savage, can you hear me? I think Savage might still be in the Discord call right now.
No, he's just in. No, he's on the call. Yeah, of course now everyone wants an interview with the break.
Yeah, it's fine. I have time to burn. Savage, can you hear me? All right, well. All right, here we are. Maybe it will work this time. Savage, can you hear me? All right, Savage, go ahead. Include your audio. Post-race interview, you had a great top 3, top 4, top 5 car somewhere around there, but all kind of fell apart near the end. What do you have to say about your run out there, mate? All right. Going forward, Savage, we've seen you repeatedly have these fantastic runs. Do you think a win may still be in the cards for you before the season is up? All right. Well, Savage, thanks for jumping in and talking with us. We look forward to seeing more fantastic runs from you in the future, mate. All right, we're going to try and reach out to some more post-race interviews with some of our other top finishers here, or some of our other lead lap finishers here at Miami. Going to try and reach out to the Chumba Casino duo of Boss Racer Pro and Waterfire right now. Hopefully they'll be able to jump in here and give us their thoughts on the race. It looks like coming to the party right now is Boss Racer Pro. Boss, are you able to hear me? In the Xbox party, there should be a little box to click that will say include audio. Can you go ahead and hit that?
Yep, 10-4.
All right, fair enough. That should work well enough. The Chumba Casino duo, both of you seem to actually have a respectable strategy. Probably not going to get you a win, but you looked like you had a strategy that was going to get you a top 7 result or something like that. In the end, Boss comes home 6th and Waterfire comes home 8th. What do you guys have to say about your runs out there?
So as I got in my ear, my teammate said he had a really good strategy. Felt confident, but the lack of cautions create opportunities for passing, well, for track position and passing on the track. However, the second to last, the penultimate caution actually is what threw off the strategy for, well, actually for both jumbo cars. We both had the plan of just running long on tires, let the field do what it do. Even when it looks like we were out, everybody had to pit either for fuel or for tires, and we was in a really good spot. However, the penultimate question came out. I was a lap down. My teammate ended up being a lap down, I think. We was able. Oh, he was actually on the lead lap. So one of us was in the top 5, fighting for the top 5, and I was 2 laps down, got the lap back, and then the last caution came out. Caution/red flag came out. I was able to pit, put some soft tires on, and push my teammate up there. Unfortunately, I gave him a little too much help going into the corner, which caused the last caution. But I was able to rally for respectable top 10 on both cars. And yeah, we're just looking forward to sunset.
My stream is set to mature audiences only. I'm not, as long as it's not constant swearing or racial slurs or something, I'm not too worried about it. If it happens once or twice, it's okay.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if the audience heard my teammate just now, but we both agree if that last caution didn't come out, we were in a really good spot to leapfrog a lot of cars on pit road and on the track. Ironically enough, before we had the caution, I said, "This is my last stop. I think I'm in a good spot." Less than 2 minutes later, caution. So it happens onto sunset, and I think we have a strong showing there.
All right, we'll definitely be looking forward to what the Chumba Casino cars can do going forward, because it seems like it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. There's always something to talk about with you two. Thanks for jumping in and talking with us, guys.
Thank you for your time.
All right. We also are going to go ahead and talk with somebody on the completely opposite end of the field, Gen 3 LS79. Gen, are you able to hear me?
I am.
In the Xbox party, there should be a little box to click that will say include audio. Can you go ahead and hit that?
I did.
All right, Jen, rough race for you. Not last place, but last of all the runners, about 4 laps down, but you still bring home some points. What was kind of the problem for you today that just kind of put you so far behind the 8 ball over the course of the run?
Just mainly just try to keep pace of everything else, because Shredder, he's really fast. Dawson's really fast. Everyone else is pretty fast. So I'm like going through the turners, going like 174, 176. I guarantee Shredders were going like 180 down. Turn 3 and 4. But for the first half of the race, I was actually doing pretty decent until one of the pit stops I did coming out. I kind of pulled a rookie maneuver and ended up hitting the inside wall, slammed all the way to the outside wall, kind of almost gave some people heart attacks, in which I will later apologize for that. Anyone who's almost got wrecked by me, I apologize for that. But other than that, the car, the 79 Mel Yellow Chevrolet, was not bad. We're going to see how we do in Sunset. I'll be driving the 79 Arizona T car Chevrolet, so we're going to see what I can do there.
All right. Well, I'll definitely be looking forward to that. I will admit I'm kind of a sucker for those Arizona iced teas in real life, so I'll definitely be, I'll try to keep it a little bit calm, but I'll be pulling for you to have some good runs out there, mate.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for jumping in, talking with us, Gen 3. Hopefully things go a lot better for you next week.
Yeah. It's just all about luck.
All right. So during that interview, there was a update, and then it was retracted. There was a update for what looked like the results were, and then it got retracted right afterwards. So the update suggested that it was SRD Shredder that won the race, but immediately after that update went out, like it was like less than 10 seconds later, the word went out that that was not official, and the finish was still under review. So we still do not know who has actually won here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Taze has stepped away for a moment, and Dawson, who we know is going to come home third, is working with some of the other officials here to try and deduce who is the actual race winner right now. Again, I do not want to end this broadcast until we know who actually won this race, but at the same time, like, I also kind of have to, 1 second. We might be able to get another interview in here. Yeah, I would like to let SRD Shredder go to bed because he is one of the people that could be the winner. But, I want to interview him again if it ends up going in his favor. And likewise, if it ends up going in Taze's favor, I want to do that for him. So, yeah. All right, coming in the party right now is another driver. This is PRG Black. Black, go ahead, include your audio in the Xbox party if you can.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, Black, interesting time. You were on a harder tire focused strategy, and while it didn't look like it was going to get you the win, you had what looked like everything put together for a potential top 5 result. All kind of slipped away from you in those series of late race restarts. What do you have to say about your run out there today?
Yeah, the Jimmy John's Foundation Blue Chevrolet was good today by ABR. We were just a little bit off our strategy, but as of right now, we're going to come back to Sunset with the new Goodrich paint scheme and tribute to the 2000 to Kevin Harvick's 2004 car. So let's go get it for Dale Earnhardt.
All right, a 2004 car. That's an interesting throwback. You don't normally hear about something that's that kind of specific. I do want to ask, why that year, Goodwrench number 29 in particular?
Because I just like all the spikes and stuff on it, and it makes it look intimidating when it's right up behind you.
I can't fault you for that. Yeah, that's as good as reason as any.
I'm gonna be happy Harvick. Where'd he come from?
I mean, considering how I've seen Sunset races go and how many of these races in PPRL have late race yellows, yeah, you could very easily pull off a where did he come from result there. That would not be the least bit surprising at this stage.
Yeah, my car looked nice tonight and everything. I decided where it was the Jimmy Johnson did a run this weekend at Daytona, or Freeze Foundation, so I decided to go ahead and represent his car this weekend.
All right. Well, if you have anything else you want to say, please feel free to say. I don't like to admit this, but I am really just trying to burn time right now until we get word
I'm with
on who actually
I've been
won.
trying to be with Dawson. That's where I'm going to. I'm going to the other Discord where he's at.
Yeah. All right. We'll go ahead and let you go then, as we are still in a holding pattern, still trying to determine who won between TazeBot44 and SRD Shredder here at Homestead Miami Speedway. We're going to go ahead and take another Twitch mandated ad break. Hopefully, they'll get something back to us in about 2 to 3 minutes time here, because this is ridiculous. It's definitely fun, but definitely ridiculous. We'll be back momentarily here at Homestead Miami Speedway.
I think this is like the closest finish I've ever had in anything.
This is probably like the second or third closest finish I've ever actually seen.
Yeah.
This is the closest 3-wide finish. I've never seen a 3-wide finish before. But
what from my end, from what I can see, sort of looking at everything that I've got, on my end it says I'm ahead. On Dawson's end, it says I'm ahead. On Taser's view, he's out like a foot compared to our other 2 views. That's just from what I can see.
Have you been able to look back at my Twitch stream?
Yeah, but remember that Forza updated like once every 3 seconds, so...
Yeah.
Essentially, it's Tase, and it doesn't move for like 3 seconds. We crossed the line, and about a second later it updates, so...
You're not gonna like me saying this. I think Taze got it, but I can't. If you put a gun to my head and say like make the decision off of what I've seen, I would not be able to. It's literally, it's not even like, oh, I think Taze got it because legitimate reasons. It's just I have a feeling in my heart that Taze got it. It's not rooted in that opinion's not rooted in reality at all. It's just that's what I feel probably happened.
I mean, yeah, of the people who finished in that thing, it's 2 of the people in the 3 wide says it's me, so... Why do you come back from the thing?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Homestead Miami Speedway. We are still under a holding pattern after a wild 3-wide finish as they came out of the final corner. Sadly, as I am broadcasting Twitch on Xbox, I don't have a way to replay the finish from my perspective, and I do apologize, as we are just trying to burn time right now, waiting for what the word is. It's not official yet who came home first or second. We do know that third place has gone to Dawson, and fourth place went to Ghost Reaper, fifth to Visible Rocket, sixth to Boss Racer Pro, seventh to PRG Black, eighth to Waterfire, ninth to Savage Speeder, 10th to JDM Culture. He was the last person to finish on the lead lap. Ben Zwim came home in 11th position in his first ever race in PPRL NASCAR. 12th went to Royally Stone. 13th place went to Hockey 2487, 14th went to Gen 3 LS 79, and then the drivers who did not finish, Link the Racer would be classified as 15th, 16th would be Dub 1775, 17th would be Adam 24 1995. Adam, remind you, is doing his first ever race today as well, but he left the race after being involved in two separate instances and just going 14 laps down. 18th place would go to Lear Art, and 19th and last place would go to Zodiac 9257. That would be your 19 drivers. Again, your top four in the championship all finish in the top four positions, but we do not know what the final result is between Taysbot and SRD Shredder. Interestingly enough, not the first time that those two have been side by side at the finish. They were neck and neck at the finish back in the season opener, Daytona 500 as well. So seeing a little bit of a repeat scenario here right now. Still in a prolonged holding pattern. I think one thing that really kind of showcases just how ridiculously close it was, at least on my end, the post-race screen says that the top 7 drivers all finished within a second of each other. That just kind of goes to show. Granted, we did have a restart with 7 laps to go, which obviously helped a lot, but that really goes to show just how close it got at the very tail end. For those of you who do want to see more PPRL racing, well, don't you worry. There is going to be more PPRL. Next week, the series is going to be rocking up on another, what you could basically be calling a plate track. They'll be going to the Sunset Peninsula Oval, which is a just under 2.5-mile oval with a flat straight front straightaway, a banked tri-oval back straightaway, and then 2 very highly banked corners, or sets of corners. After Sunset Peninsula, the series will go back to Daytona, and that will be a much shorter 300-mile race, so significantly shorter than the 500-mile we had earlier on. The second to last race of the season, that will be on the 28th of this month. That will be at Watkins Glen around the short circuit, the shorter layout there. So that'll be our second of the 2 road course races we have this season. And then on the 7th of March, we will be at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the finale. Right now, that race is scheduled to have rain at it. I personally hope that those ends up changing, but yeah, this is a little bit interesting right now. But yeah, we are still in a prolonged holding pattern as we are still waiting on word as to who actually got this victory. And again, I don't want to end this broadcast until we know, but I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't see anyone in, well, I see some people in one of the chats, but yeah, I'm going to try something real quickly here. I'm going to try and get another interview in real quickly here. I'm going to try and talk with one of our first-time starters here and see if they have anything they want to say about their run out here as we're still trying to burn time waiting for the final result. I'm not getting any response, sadly. How long could it possibly take to figure this out? I mean, I know the 1959 Daytona 500 had a 3-wide finish that took like a day and a half to resolve who won that one, but like the difference there is that they had one awful camera angle and one picture from pit lane, and that was it. We've got twice that footage.
It's like odd angled camera number 1, odd angled camera number 2, odd angled camera number 3.
Technically 4, but yeah, you'd think we'd have something by now.
The stream angle is the impossible angle number 1. So.
Yeah, the stream angle is like the worst of the 3, but like, I don't know. Still in a prolonged holding pattern right now. Okay, just got word that we'll get one more interview here. Hopefully this will work out. Normally, ladies and gentlemen, we don't get to do this many interviews. All right, coming to the party right now is Benzweem. Assuming I'm saying that right. Ben, are you able to hear me? In the Xbox party, there should be a little box to check that will say include my audio. Can you go ahead and hit that?
All right.
Yeah,
there you go.
All right.
Sorry.
Awesome. So, Ben, welcome to the party. First race in the PPRL NASCAR series for you. Not a greatest run, but you did come home 11th in the end. You were running at the finish. What do you have to say about your run out there today?
I started. Reaper got me involved with it. Really good guy there. He kind of just told me have some fun with it, try it out. I have a long time history in racing here in real cars, so this is something different for me. It's very cool. The driving's different. The rules were a little bit different. Just driving on a game, basically like a simulator almost. It's definitely different for me. It was fun. I enjoyed my time here. I don't know if I'll be able to run a lot more. My work schedule's kind of, hectic, but I enjoyed my time here. But my run started out real good. I was keeping up with the front pack, and I may have let a car rear end me, or I don't know if they got into me. It kind of spun me out, got me on the apron. Got about 2 laps down there. Pulled out all my suspension, had to go back in the pits. They got me back out there, got my softs on, and just started making up some time. Run all my tires down to severe, my fuel all the way down to 1 lap, just making my way one at a time. And there at the end, I made myself up to 11th, and just kind of drove my heart out there.
A fantastic job out there. Considering that you were basically trapped on the same lap with Royally Stone to the checkered, you were able to edge out Stone, who is a bit of a veteran here in the series, for that spot. So that was a pretty solid run to the end there as well.
Yes.
You say you do real-life racing. Is there anything from your real-life racing that you feel helped prepare you for this, or do you feel that the schools of experience are just so different that there was nothing from real life that really could have prepared you for what you had today?
There is some similarities. So just the way the car acts and feels, sliding out on you. I drive on a wheel, so I can kind of feel that stuff a little more different than what you'd feel on a controller. It seems that the controller players were a little hard to keep up with, as I've seen and experienced, but nothing too difficult. It's pretty similar. Nothing too different. The tire wear, you can save your tires a lot different in this game. And I don't know, it was something definitely different to learn throughout the race. It definitely teach you how to not push too hard, to run out of tire real quick. But I race in. I'm big in dirt cars in real life. If anybody knows 410 sprint cars, I've been around them for a long time. I'm here from Tulsa, Oklahoma, so I'm around the Chili Bowl every year, around the midget teams. So I've had some disciplined years here in Oklahoma around that stuff, and got to experience driving a couple different cars. And Yeah, I mean, it's pretty similar. I will say for anyone that's trying to get into it, it's pretty fun and definitely give you an experience.
I do want to ask, because this is something that always is kind of a stickler for me. I'm still trying to burn some time right now before we get an official thing, but I do want to ask, since you say you've done a lot of the Tulsa, Oklahoma dirt oval racing scene, how much of a problem is traction control and driver aids in general? How much of an issue is it with teams being caught using that? Or is it a case that the officials and the people who run the series aren't really in a position to find those kind of cheats?
It really depends on which track you go to. The tech inspection, some tracks they do where the mechanics actually do the tech inspection. That way they're not liable for breaking any parts or anything. But majority of the time, if it's a big sanctioned event, they'll have a dedicated tech team, and pretty much everyone knows you're not gonna get around them. They'll find a way. They've invented a new tire testing system where you can't dope tires, you can't put simple green on them, you can't put anything. They'll read it. So it's definitely hectic here with the dirt racing situation, but I think it's coming to a better place.
All right, hey, at least for me, that's fantastic to hear. I'm not really anti-driver aids. I am anti-cheating. I'm not a fan of seeing cheating in racing in general. I feel that it cheapens the entire event. So hearing at least from someone who's actively in the scene that there are significant strides in making things a little bit more properly legal makes me feel a lot better, at least. If you have anything else you want to say, feel free to jump in and say it.
I just want to give a big thank you to Hayes and Reaper. They helped me pretty much get into this situation of racing with you guys, and I enjoyed myself. They taught me a little bit about some different lines and how to manage your tires on here, and it's definitely helped me. I made that time back up from 18th to 11th, 2 laps down, making my way up. So it definitely showed, I think.
All right. Well, that's the word from Benz in his first ever Forza race, first ever PPRL race after a interesting real life career. It's always nice to see someone who does real life racing be willing to take some time out to do some messing around with us in the Simcade world. With that in mind, I am going to go ahead. This may be risky, and I might be putting my neck out on the line here. I feel confident because I am looking at 2 different tables right now, one that says driver standings and one that says results. And on both of these, I see a final result has been made. Now, this could be changed later on. There has not been an official result, but based off of the point standings I'm looking at and the results table I'm looking at, it looks like your winner is SRD Shredder, who is taking home the win here at Homestead, Miami over Taze. Shredder, you're still in the party somehow. If you are still awake, make sure your audio is included. Your second win in 3 races in this series. What do you have to say about what looks to be another fantastic top 2 result and another win for you here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to celebrate a win just yet because it's not been confirmed officially. But yeah, it would be fun for another win. At worst, I'm getting a second place, so it's not the worst in the universe. But let's get a second win. Because realistically, I should have maybe 4 wins on the season, maybe all 5. Just go through all of them. It was neck and neck, like, to the line races, and yeah, you can say if things had gone better in my direction, I could cover a sweep so far. So I've been lucky, but not at the same time. So yeah.
All right. The next 2 races on the season would be restrictor plate races. If these results are correct, you would have a 4-point lead over Dawson and a 5-point lead over Tazebot. What is your strategy to try and gap those 2, considering we're coming up to 2 restrictor plate tracks?
I mean, Sunset, that's got a tiny bit of strategy in it with what tires you pick, how hard you go, what lines you take. And then for Daytona, it's just, stick the bottom line and pray you don't get killed. So it's yeah. So of the two races, Sunset's going to be the interesting one to look for because I've not driven stock cars around there, so not got any idea of any lines. Not sure if we're going to be going wall to the bottom to the wall, or we're just going to be sticking it low the entire time. So it's going to be an interesting experience to see what lines people can cook up.
All right. Well, with that in mind, unless you have anything else to say, Shredder, while it's not official, from what little bit I see behind the scenes, it looks like it was you who won this. And with that in mind, like, if you have anything else to say, feel free. Otherwise, go sleep on it and buy some champagne in the morning,
I'm
I guess.
tired. I'm tired. That's the only thing with this. It's 6:05 in the morning. Look, Jesus Christ, this race ended about a minute ago.
Yeah, it ended like 45 minutes ago, I know. All right,
Yeah.
well, that's the word from the driver who it looks like has won here at Homestead, Miami in a crazy 3-wide finish, SRD Shredder, but the gaps were just too tight to call. The pictures I'm looking at is suggesting that it was basically the difference of the thickness of a sheet of paper between the top 3 drivers of Shredder, Taze, and Dawson. When we come back to broadcast in a week's time, we will make an effort to update you properly on who actually won this race, just in case we ended up being wrong and it was Taze. And if we've made the mistake, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be here forever trying to run this broadcast. So until next time, I've been your host of today's broadcast, Insane Leader 13. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for not just an interesting race, but a prolonged post-race as well. We look forward to seeing you all at Sunset Peninsula for the second restrictor plate race of the season. Until then, stay safe, farewell, and goodbye, everyone. Give me a bit.